Chapter 143. The Head Disciple and the Floating Crest Trial. These two news made the inner disciples excited. Vice Headley revealed a smile and nodded his head in satisfaction. Being amongst the inner disciples, Zhao Feng felt slightly pressured. He had just entered the inner disciples and was only at the first sky of the ascended realm, which could be said to be at the bottom. However, he was still very confident. Only he himself knew how terrifying the aura of his left eye, the faint green blood in his body, and the aura that had fused with his flesh and blood. Ever since he had broken through to the ascended realm, Zhao Feng's left eye and body had undergone a drastic change. Up until now, Zhao Feng hadn't tried out the true power of his left eye and body. After Vice Headley finished talking about these two things, he brought up some other small matters, such as warning an inner disciple that they hadn't completed the clan's missions. Zhao Feng knew that inner disciples had freedom and could enjoy the resources and environment of the clan. However, according to the sect's rules, the inner disciples had to complete a sect mission every 2 months. This was a mandatory requirement. Some inner court disciples were eager to complete more missions in order to obtain contribution points for the sect. These contribution points were similar to the Guanjuan Palace's battle points, which could be exchanged for skills, weapons, and spiritual pills. In the Broken Moon clan, apart from the mandatory missions every 2 months, inner disciples could also choose some free missions to earn points. If they had enough points, they could even enter the Hollow Building. The Jinhua sword in Su Ren's hand was a low-grade mortal weapon that could be bought with contribution points at a discounted price. Therefore, no inner disciple would think that they didn't have enough contribution points. They would all try their best to complete the clan's missions, and they would even take on extra missions when they were free. Once my cultivation stabilizes, I'll also take on a few clan missions. Zhao Feng calculated in his heart. Thinking back to when he was at the Guanjuan Palace, his battle points were number 1. This was because the left eye's ability was more useful in battle. Half an hour later, the gathering finally ended. The crowd of inner disciples dispersed one after another. These inner disciples all had their own circles. For example, Quan Chen, Bei Moi, and Yuan Ji were in the same circle. Zhao Feng, Xiao Sun, Yun Mengxiang and Lin Fan were also in the same circle, and since they had just entered the inner disciples, they took care of each other. Lin Fan said gratefully, "It's all thanks to junior brother Zhao's help just now." On the other hand, Yun Mengxiang and Xiao Sun felt a little guilty. When Lin Fan was truly being bullied, they just watched from the side, not daring to interfere at all. Xiao Sun was infuriated and decided to distance himself from Zhao Feng and Lin Fan. Firstly, both Zhao Feng and Lin Fan had offended the experts of the sect. This was especially true for Zhao Feng, who seemed to have even offended a true disciple. Secondly, the talents of Zhao Feng and Zhang Xian were quite ordinary, thus there was no benefit in befriending them. Xiao Sun sneered, wishing that he could cut ties with the two of them as soon as possible so that he would not be implicated. Watching Xiao Sun leave, Zhao Feng and Lin Fan looked at each other and shook their heads. Zhao Feng has great potential in pill making, but he chose the lightning wind palm. Yun Mengxiang sighed in her heart. She didn't say anything else and left silently. As the princess of the Cloud Country, Yun Mengxiang had wanted to invest in Zhao Feng's potential. But it was a pity that Zhao Feng had chosen the path of martial arts and the lightning wind palm, which meant that he was destined to die young. Yun Mengxiang decided to look for other disciples with potential, as she couldn't place too much hope on Zhao Feng. After saying goodbye to Lin Fan, Zhao Feng returned to his residence. The most important thing right now was to merge the two true forces in his body to raise his cultivation. The returning force and silver air true force were merged within his dantian. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. The two true forces in Zhao Feng's body had finally merged into one. The merged true force was dominated by the silver air true force. This was because the returning force did not have any mental cultivation technique after reaching the saintly realm. Of course, the newly born Silver Dipper true power also had some of the characteristics of the returning element true power. The speed of merging is faster than I expected. My cultivation has basically reached the peak of the first sky of the ascended realm. Zhao Feng nodded his head. While merging the true forces, he would occasionally go to the Thousand-Leaf Pond to train his physique. It hadn't even been a month since he had entered the inner clan, but he had already reached the peak of the first sky of the Ascended Realm. Even some of the top geniuses with the help of elders wouldn't be able to reach this level. After reaching the peak of the first sky of the Ascended Realm, Zhao Feng had another goal: to choose a mental cultivation technique. He didn't immediately go to the hollow building inside the dimension of his left eye. It was a huge and complicated diagram of a formation, with countless virtual lines appearing. While he was merging his true force, Zhao Feng didn't stop analyzing the structure of the hollow building. Up until now, he had done a preliminary analysis of this formation diagram, but it was still difficult for him to completely grasp it. After all, the array inside the hollow building was an ancient array, and even the top array masters in the clan could only understand 20 to 30% of it. But Zhao Feng had his own advantage. Through his left eye, he could see the array inside the hollow building and he could analyze it in his mind. Therefore, his understanding of the array had reached 70 to 80%, which was more than the array masters in the clan. For the next few days, Zhao Feng used all his strength to analyze and solve the array. Finally, he came to a conclusion: he had 70% confidence in solving the array inside the hollow building, but it would take a lot of time and effort. Furthermore, it would be extremely difficult to solve it without alerting the elders in the hollow building. The only way he could solve it was through the holes in the array and see if he could pick up the good stuff inside the hollow building. If he was unlucky, he wouldn't be able to pick up a good skill. But picking up the good stuff also had its advantages. It wouldn't alert the elders in the hollow building. A few days later, Zhao Feng left his place and headed straight for the hollow building. On his second visit to the hollow building, Zhao Feng took out his inner disciple token. With this token, he could choose a middle-class mortal cultivation skill from the hollow building. Soon, he entered the area filled with mist and jade tokens. Zhao Feng took a deep breath as he slowly pulled down his eye patch. Through the slit of his left eye, his azure pupil flickered as he scanned the mist around him. In the vision of his left eye, the power of the formation in the fog around him displayed a clearer and more complete formation diagram than before. Great, after my left eye improved, I can see more holes in the array. Zhao Feng's heart started to beat faster as he was overjoyed. He turned his body sideways and took a few steps forward and backward. Then, he suddenly extended his hand and pulled to the left. Shwa! Soon, a jade token with a silver light appeared in his left eye. This was the jade token that he had grabbed through the loophole in the array. This jade token shouldn't have appeared in this area, but through the loophole in the array, it did. A jade token with a silver light? Zhao Feng was overjoyed. In the hollow building, normal jade tokens gave off a bronze light. A silver jade token represented a high-class mortal skill. Zhao Feng scanned it with his left eye and found that it was a high-class mortal skill. He sighed as he merged his left eye into the jade token and quickly took in the scene and the skill. A while later, a silver light flashed again in the loophole. Zhao Feng did the same thing and quickly put the jade token into his left eye. He then put the jade token back to its original place and left with the array. However, the second time, he obtained a mortal advanced movement skill. In terms of movement, Zhao Feng mainly focused on the illusion fish picture, but it wasn't bad to have a high-class mortal skill as a reference. However, what Zhao Feng really needed was an inner force skill. Zhao Feng was about to take in the jade token for the third time when his left eye suddenly twitched as he felt a mental energy pressure approaching him, causing him to stop what he was doing. Right at this moment, an obscure and strange mental energy swept over. This should be the spiritual sense of a true spirit realm cultivator. Zhao Feng thought. Spiritual sense was a mysterious power that a cultivator's mental energy could extend out of their body. Usually, only those at the fourth sky of the ascended realm and above could form spiritual sense. Those below the fourth sky of the ascended realm wouldn't be able to do so unless they trained in a special skill. The spiritual sense just then should have been a random check from the hollow building's elder. After a while, he confirmed that there wasn't anything wrong. Zhao Feng did the same and took in another jade token. Heavenly Wind God Technique, high-class mortal skill, one of the best amongst those of the same rank. This skill can increase the speed of gathering true force and increase the speed of one's movement. When trained to the low level, one's true force will be like a wind blade that can cut through metal like mud. When trained to the high level, one's true force can cut through low-class mortal weapons. Zhao Feng was overjoyed after reading the description. He was sure that this skill was suitable for him. Firstly, this skill leaned towards the use of wind and he had the foundation of the 4 wind stances. Secondly, this skill's speed of gathering and power was great, one of the best amongst those of the same rank. One had to know that most inner disciples only trained at the middle-class mortal level. Not only was the high-class mortal skill, the Heavenly Wind God Technique was also one of the best amongst those of the same rank. Furthermore, skills that lean towards the elements of wind and fire were more common as they focused on speed and power. This way, as long as Zhao Feng didn't reveal the obvious characteristics of this skill, others wouldn't be able to detect it. This is it. Zhao Feng confirmed that the Heavenly Wind God Technique would be his main skill. Next, Zhao Feng didn't use any loopholes to find a new skill. Firstly, time was limited, and secondly, there was a certain amount of risk. If the elder of the hollow building accidentally found out, it would be bad. Since he had achieved his goal, Zhao Feng decided to stop while he was ahead. In the remaining time, Zhao Feng found a skill called the Heavenly Wind Qi Technique. The Heavenly Wind Qi Technique is the simplified version of the Heavenly Wind God Technique. Zhao Feng nodded his head in satisfaction. In this way, his cultivation of the Heavenly Wind God Technique would be even more concealed. After choosing the Heavenly Wind Qi Technique, the other jade tokens in the mist started to disappear. At the same time, the information of the skill he chose was also recorded by the hollow building. Hollow building, in a hidden attic. Zhao Feng, Heavenly Wind Qi Technique, he's the kid that chose the lightning wind palm. An old man murmured to himself. At this moment, Zhao Feng had already walked out of the hollow building. There were a few high-class mortal skills in his mind, including the only middle-class mortal Heavenly Wind Qi Technique. Of course, the most important was the Heavenly Wind God Technique. After returning, Zhao Feng had roughly read the Heavenly Wind God Technique and found that it also contained the intent of some true force attacks. He exclaimed in a low voice. He found that there were some parts of the Heavenly Wind God Technique that seemed familiar. Chapter 144. Learning the Heavenly Wind God Technique made Zhao Feng feel like he had seen it before. Zhao Feng thought about it and realized that this skill was based on the element of wind and it had a lot in common with his 4 wind stances and mysterious wind palm. Even the lightning wind palm was based on the understanding of wind, using the wind to summon lightning. Therefore, just by looking through it once, Zhao Feng had gained some understanding of the Heavenly Wind God Technique and his understanding of it had reached 10 to 20%. If other people in the clan were to know of this, they would be stunned. For mortal-level cultivation techniques, every rank was a watershed. Mortal low tier was already a saint-grade cultivation technique that the outside world yearned for. It was something that one would never be able to attain in one's lifetime. For disciples of the clan, low-class mortal skills weren't difficult and as long as they had the time, they would be able to train it to the max level sooner or later. But at the middle-class mortal skill, its power and difficulty increased exponentially. Most inner disciples would only have one middle-tier mortal cultivation technique, and only a few of them would have 2 or more. Furthermore, it was difficult for them to reach lesser mastery. As for high-class mortal skills, there were only 100 to 200 of them in the Broken Moon clan and they were extremely precious. Most disciples under the 4th sky of the Ascended Realm wouldn't be able to comprehend a high-class mortal skill even if they had it. Therefore, only a small number of true disciples, who were extremely talented, had extraordinary comprehension, and were taught by their seniors, would have the opportunity to cultivate mortal high-tier cultivation techniques. Zhao Feng had only glanced through the Heavenly Wind God Technique once and he could comprehend a thing or two, which was shocking. This was mainly because of 2 points. Firstly, after his left eye had changed, his comprehension of mental energy had reached a whole new level. Secondly, Zhao Feng had learnt many skills similar to the Heavenly Wind God technique. On the same day, Zhao Feng started to practice the Heavenly Wind God technique as well as the simplified version of the Heavenly Wind skill. The clan had a rule that the skills of the hollow building couldn't be taught to outsiders or else their cultivation would be crippled. Zhao Feng had obtained the Heavenly Wind God technique through illegal means, and it wasn't because of the clan's permission or the teachings of an elder. Even though this could not be considered as teaching the technique to an outsider, it would still be troublesome if the Heavenly Wind God technique were to be exposed. This way, the simplified version of the Heavenly Wind Qi manual could be used as a cover. Half a day later, Zhao Feng's Heavenly Wind God's secret art was at the entry level, and the true power in his body was graceful and agile, but it did not lose its sharpness, and the circulation speed was extremely fast. 2 days later, the true power in his body had completely transformed into Heavenly Wind True Power. Zhao Feng tried it out, and realized that the Heavenly Wind True Power's congealing speed was very fast, and it contained a cutting edge similar to the partial wind style, but it was even more profound. The more he comprehended it, the more surprised Zhao Feng was. The Heavenly Wind God technique completely covered the first 3 styles of the 4 wind styles, as well as the profound meaning of the mysterious wind palm. The style of true power was similar to the air crossing manual that he had trained in previously. It had an additional effect on light body techniques, and contained an extremely strong cutting edge. Zhao Feng suddenly realized that there was a move in the Heavenly Wind God technique that was almost identical to the mysterious wind palm that he had trained in. Although the Heavenly Wind God technique was an inner force mental cultivation method, it also had true power attack moves and profound meaning. One of the moves, Whirling Edge style, was extremely similar to the mysterious wind palm that he had comprehended. Even the simplified version of the Heavenly Wind Qi manual had a similar move, called Whirling Blade Palm. Is Ran Xiaoyuan training in the Heavenly Wind God technique, or the Heavenly Wind Qi manual? Zhao Feng's eyes revealed a look of contemplation, as he recalled the scene of that move. Ran Xiaoyuan was relatively young, but her cultivation level was close to the 3rd heaven. If she was training in the Heavenly Wind God technique, then her background was not simple. Without thinking about it, Zhao Feng circulated the Heavenly Wind True Power again and again. The more he cultivated, the more he felt the power of the upper mortal level cultivation method. With the Heavenly Wind God technique as the foundation, his lightning wind palm would definitely have a huge increase in power. In just a few days' time, Zhao Feng's cultivation had stabilized at the peak first sky. He mainly trained in the Heavenly Wind God technique, and he had the lightning wind palm for offense. He believed that no one under the 3rd sky of the ascended realm could threaten him. After cultivating for a few days, Zhao Feng's body was slightly stiff and he walked out of the room. In front of the door, Zhao Feng saw a special letter stuck on the door. On the letter, there was a crescent moon symbol. Zhao Feng understood that this was a mission letter from the clan. In the Broken Moon clan, every inner disciple had a mission every 2 months and they had to complete it. If the mission was completed, they would receive contribution points and primal crystal stones. If the mission was failed, a certain amount of contribution points would be deducted, and if they failed multiple times, they might even be kicked out of the clan. Clan mission. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he opened the letter. Usually, the clan would look at the cultivation of the disciples when they gave out missions. There wouldn't be a situation where a low-ranked disciple would take a high-ranked mission. Some missions that were too difficult would require a few people to form a team and work together. This was the first time that Zhao Feng had received a clan mission, so he was slightly excited. Mission objective: investigate the source of the plague in the Xing family as well as the death of the family head Xing Cheng. There will be an additional reward for killing the culprit. In the letter, the mission objective was stated very simply. There was also a description of the background of the mission. Zhao Feng knew a thing or two about the Xing family. It was a hidden family within the Cloud Country. The head of the Xing family was said to be at the second sky of the Ascended Realm, the same as Lord Guanjuan. The overall strength of the Xing family was on par with the Guanjuan palace. In the past few months, the Xing family had been enveloped by the plague and the head, Xing Cheng, had died. The two young masters had fought each other for the position of the family head. There was an analysis on the letter. It seems that there are cultivators from other countries causing trouble in the Xing family. If you find an enemy you can't fight against, you can retreat and ask for help from the clan. Mission difficulty, level 2.5, has the possibility of increasing to level 3. Clan missions were split into 7 ranks. Level 1 mission, disciples at the first sky of the Ascended Realm can do it. Level 7 mission, disciples at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm can do it. Elite deacons or even vice heads are needed. Level 2.5 required disciples at the 3rd sky of the Ascended Realm or at the 2nd sky of the Ascended Realm. Mission difficulty, level 2.5. This probably isn't something a new disciple can do. A light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes. As expected, Zhao Feng found at the bottom of the letter that this mission was being carried out by multiple people. This was a group mission with 5 members, Huang Yun, Su Ren, Xiao Sun, Zhao Feng and Lin Fan. Captain, Huang Yun. Peak 2nd sky of the Ascended Realm. Vice Captain, Su Ren. 2nd sky of the Ascended Realm. Looking at the list of names, Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. He had a weird feeling that this mission wouldn't be simple. On the surface, it seemed that this mission was led by 2 disciples at the 2nd sky of the Ascended Realm and Zhao Feng and company were all elites at the 1st sky of the Ascended Realm. This was especially so for Zhao Feng and Lin Fan, they were both once the top outer disciples. A team like this should be suitable for a level 2.5 mission. But if one looked deeper, they would find that Su Ren, Zhao Feng and Lin Fan had a grudge against each other. As for Xiao Sun, his relationship with Zhao Feng and Lin Fan was completely broken. The last captain, Huang Yun, had the highest cultivation and Zhao Feng didn't know much about him at the moment. Reward: complete the basic investigation and receive 100 substandard primal crystal stones and 100 contribution points. Kill the killer and receive an additional 200 substandard primal crystal stones and 200 contribution points. The rewards are pretty good. Zhao Feng snickered coldly in his heart. Brother Zhao. Right at this moment, Lin Fan came over to visit. Lin Fan also held the mission letter in his hands and he said with a solemn expression, Brother Zhao, what do you think about this mission? I'm afraid this mission won't be too successful. If it was just me and Brother Lin, we might have a higher chance. Zhao Feng gave a deep smile. Lin Fan couldn't help but be stunned. Zhao Feng's tone was a bit arrogant, but the meaning behind his words was obvious. The overall strength of the group wasn't bad, but the grudges between the members made it hard for the group to work together. This was why Zhao Feng said this. Although this mission was difficult, he would rather take it alone. With Lin Fan, they would at least be able to cooperate and not drag the group down. What's the background of that Huang Yun? Zhao Feng asked. Huang Yun was the leader of this mission. This person's strength is ranked top 3 amongst those at the 2nd sky of the Ascended Realm and he's related to the core disciple Yuanji. Lin Fan answered. Yuanji? Hai Yun Master's 2nd disciple, Beimuo's brother. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. His instincts were right. If he wasn't wrong, it was most likely Hai Yun Master or his disciple who did something to the mission. This meant that this mission wouldn't be easy and it might even be life-threatening. The leader, Huang Yun, was part of Hai Yun Master's faction and he was an elite at the 2nd sky of the Ascended Realm. The vice leader, Su Ren, had conflicts with Zhao Feng and Lin Fan. The last one was Xiao Sun, who had probably colluded with the former two. In this mission, the ones who were at a disadvantage were Zhao Feng and Lin Fan. Zhao Feng felt guilty because the real target of this mission was him and Lin Fan was just a bystander. The time of the mission was 3 days later. Because of this, Zhao Feng had made some preparations in the clan. In terms of weapons, he still brought the Golden Stairs bow. The Golden Stairs bow was the heirloom of the Zhao clan, and Zhao Feng had the clan mission division evaluated. It was a half-mortal grade weapon, and it was slightly weaker than Su Ren's Jinyue sword. But with Zhao Feng's current strength, he could easily kill those at the first sky of the Ascended Realm, and he could even threaten those at the second sky of the Ascended Realm. Apart from that, Zhao Feng had also prepared healing pills, recovery pills, and antidotes. For this mission, Zhao Feng had put a lot of thought into it, and he had even made many preparations. He had even prepared for the worst-case scenario. The worst-case scenario was that this mission was against him and his life would be in danger. The better-case scenario was that Haiyun Master's faction only wanted to suppress him and limit his growth. 3 days later, the 5 people who came for the Xing family's mission arrived one by one. The leader Huang Yun was expressionless and cold. "You two better behave yourselves in this mission. If there's anything wrong during the mission, I'll hold you responsible." The vice leader Su Ren coldly glanced at Zhao Feng and Lin Fan. Xiao's son had a satisfied expression as he looked at Zhao Feng and Lin Fan gloatingly. This also proved Zhao Feng and Lin Fan's guesses. At the same time, 2 people stood on a hill a few miles away. "Senior brother Yuan Ji, this mission doesn't bode well for that brat. If we kill him, wouldn't it be too easy?" Quan Chen seemed a little unwilling. Chapter 145. Several days later, Huang Yun, Su Ren, Xiao Sun, Zhao Feng and Lin Fan of the Broken Moon clan had finally arrived at their destination. The Xing family. This was a secluded villa isolated from the rest of the world. It rarely interacted with the outside world. Normal people wouldn't be able to find the Xing family, but the Broken Moon clan was the clan that controlled the Cloud Country and no force could escape their sight. A mile or 2 away, the 5 stood on top of the mountain and looked down at the villa. The entire Xing family was terrifyingly silent and no sound could be heard. Suddenly, the entire area seemed to have turned into a ghost realm. The group of 5 felt a weird aura and they didn't move. From the report, they knew that the Xing family had been enveloped by a weird plague and over half of the people within the village had died. Apart from that, the head of the family, Xing Cheng, who was at the same level as Lord Guanjuan, had also died. "Zhao Feng, Lin Fan, the 2 of you go investigate the situation of the villa," Huang Yun ordered. Huang Yun was the leader of the group of 5 and he was also the one with the highest cultivation. On the way here, Huang Yun had ordered Zhao Feng and Lin Fan, who had the lowest cultivation, to do all sorts of things. A cold light flashed through Su Ren's eyes as he stared at Zhao Feng and Xiao Sunday. Zhao Feng and Lin Fan split up and headed towards the villa. Tang! Zhao Feng's figure landed on the roof of the villa and he looked down at the entire villa. He slightly opened up his silver-green eye patch, revealing a slit in his left eye. His green pupil shone with a sharp luster as he scanned the entire Xing clan. Shua! In that instant, Zhao Feng had imprinted the map of the Xing family into his mind. In this way, his grasp of the geography of the Xing village, especially the macroscopic view, was probably much clearer than that of the people who were born and raised here. From the report, the plague was fatal to those below the 7th rank of the consolidated realm and the threat to those above the 7th rank was lower. Being at the Ascended Realm, normal plagues obviously wouldn't affect them. Therefore, Zhao Feng didn't hesitate at all as he flew into the villa. In reality, Zhao Feng had already seen the situation within the villa with his left eye. He was just putting on an act to deal with Huang Yun and Su Ren. Most of the areas in the villa were deathly silent, and there was almost no sign of life. Occasionally, he would see a few humans who were around the 7th stage of the martial path. They were on their last breaths and their eyes were dim as they laid there sickly. Zhao Feng scanned around with his left eye and found that there was a faint purple aura in the organs of those who had been infected that was corroding their life force. As they went deeper, Zhao Feng got closer to the center of the village. There was a dozen or so acres of land here, the Manor Lord's palace. There were many survivors in the Manor Lord's residence. There were many cultivators of the 7th rank and above, and Zhao Feng's sharp left eye even saw an old man at the Ascended Realm. If I'm not wrong, this person should be the butler of the Xing family, the one who entrusted this mission. Zhao Feng thought. Not long later, Lin Fan arrived from the other side and started chatting with the Xing family's butler. This old man's surname is Li, and I'm the butler of the villa. Greetings. The old butler burst into tears after knowing why the two were here. Shortly after, the old butler started to talk about the plague, including the death of the family head. The plague had entered the villa half a year ago without anyone noticing, and it had now enveloped the entire Xing family. Luckily, the Xing family was isolated from the rest of the world, so the plague hadn't spread to other areas. The family head, Xing Cheng, had died a month ago. That night, the manor lord went out alone in the forest a few miles away from the mansion. He was fighting with someone, and the commotion was quite loud. When we arrived, the family head was already dead. Butler Li's face was full of memories and fear as he told the story. At the end, he knelt on the ground. Please help me find the source of the plague and capture the culprit. Zhao Feng fell into deep thought after hearing this. From the looks of it, the death of the family head and the outbreak of the plague happened at the same time. The culprit should be someone or a force. To be able to create such a terrifying plague and kill a cultivator at the second sky of the ascended realm, the culprit should be a cultivator from another country. Because this kind of plague hadn't appeared in the Xing family, but it had happened in the neighboring countries. All of these coincided with the intelligence analysis without a kiss. So why would the culprit target the Xing family and the family head? Zhao Feng immediately thought of two words: revenge. Soon after, Huang Yun and the other two arrived at the center of the villa. Lin Fan reported the situation to him. Let's go to the forest. Huang Yun's eyes flashed. That forest was where the family head and the culprit had fought. There were no signs of battle in the forest, which meant that it had been purposely left behind. Zhao Feng had a weird feeling as he stood in the forest, which made him furrow his eyebrows. He took off his blindfold and scanned the forest with his left eye, but he didn't make a sound. Huang Yun's eyes twinkled as he analyzed. From the looks of it, this battle was extremely shocking. The culprit's strength should be on par with the family head, possibly at the peak second sky of the ascended realm. Brother Huang's right. Su Ren and Xiao Sun immediately agreed. On the way here, Su Ren and Xiao Sun had always been led by Huang Yun. Zhao Feng and Lin Fan didn't have the right to speak. After that, Huang Yun brought up the idea of looking at the family head's corpse. The manor master's corpse had already been buried half a month ago. Now that they wanted to dig up the grave and open the coffin, the two young manor masters were naturally against it. Su Ren glared coldly, and the mental energy of the second sky of the ascended realm made the two young masters kneel on the ground with pale faces. The two young masters were only at the 8th and 9th sky of the consolidated realm. How could they resist? Soon, Zhao Feng and company saw the rotten body of the family head. There were a few broken bones on the shoulders and chest, and there were also some scratch marks on other parts of the body. No one could see anything from the body. After all, they couldn't even see the face of the family head. Only Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled, but he didn't say anything. Even if he had any objections, they wouldn't have accepted it. On the same day, the group of 5 searched the villa for a long time, but they didn't make any progress. Tonight, we'll stay in the manor. Zhao Feng, Lin Fan, you'll be responsible for patrolling at night. Huang Yun calmly ordered. He was the leader, so the other members had to listen to his orders. In fact, the team leader even had the authority to distribute the rewards of the mission. Zhao Feng and Lin Fan exchanged glances. Since it was late at night, they would keep watch in the manor. Brother Zhao, have you found anything about the Xing family's plague and the culprit? Lin Fan asked. Nothing. Zhao Feng smiled. Lin Fan felt that Zhao Feng seemed to have found something. Out of the group, only this azure-haired one-eyed youth was something he couldn't see through. Shwa! In the night wind, a ghostly black shadow flashed from the corner of the mansion. Who's there? Lin Fan exclaimed, startling Huang Yun and company who were in the manor. Including the butler and the two young masters, they woke up from their sleep, I just saw a black figure running in that direction. Lin Fan quickly said. Black figure? Hearing this, Huang Yun's eyes lit up. If they could catch the culprit, there would be extra rewards. Chase! He leaped into the air like a green afterimage, traversing 100 or 200 meters in the air. Xiao Sun and Lin Fan couldn't even see Huang Yun's figure clearly. Being one of the top cultivators at the second sky of the Ascended Realm, Huang Yun's strength was indeed extraordinary. Under Huang Yun's lead, the group chased after him. Soon, Huang Yun saw a ghostly black shadow in front of him, and its speed was only slightly slower than his. Where do you think you're going? Huang Yun roared as a layer of scarlet true force surrounded his body, causing the wind to blow as he closed in on the figure. Kakik! The ghostly shadow let out a burst of strange laughter and scuttled into the forest. That forest was where they had been during the day, where the Xing family's head had died. Huang Yun stopped in the forest with a cautious expression, but he didn't enter immediately. The others that came later also didn't dare to move recklessly. Lin Fan, Zhao Feng, you guys enter the forest to investigate. We'll look after you. Huang Yun's eyes turned as he ordered. Hearing this, anger rose in Lin Fan's heart. Did Huang Yun want to use the two of them as cannon fodder? Are you going or not? Do you dare to disobey the leader's orders? Su Ren snorted coldly. Xiao Sun had a mocking smile on his face, but he didn't say anything. In front of the forest, the group of 5 fell into a momentary silence. How about this, I'll lead the way. Zhao Feng said calmly. The crowd was startled after hearing the words. Anyone would know that the black figure had an ulterior motive for leading them into the forest. Furthermore, the family head, Xing Cheng, had died in this forest. If you guys hesitate any longer, we won't be able to find the culprit. Zhao Feng smiled. His azure hair fluttered in the wind and his eye was calm, which made him seem mysterious. Okay. Huang Yun and Su Ren exchanged glances and nodded their heads in agreement. Lin Fan wanted to say something, but he swallowed his words when Zhao Feng smiled. Shua! Zhao Feng's figure flickered, turning into a soundless blur as he leapt into the forest. This kid's movement skill isn't bad. Huang Yun was slightly surprised as he chased after Lin Fan. Zhao Feng led the way while the other 4 followed behind, maintaining a certain distance. They were all at the Ascended Realm and Ascended Realm, so they had a certain level of night vision. But in the forest at night, their vision was far worse than in the day. Over there. Zhao Feng suddenly saw the black figure and immediately chased after it. Don't let him get away. Huang Yun was overjoyed when he saw the black figure. Shua! Everyone only saw Zhao Feng increase his speed and in a blur, he had merged into the darkness. Brother Zhao! Brother Zhao, where are you? They shouted a few times, but in the dead silence of the night, there was no response at all. Zhao Feng seemed to have been swallowed by the darkness. Could it be that Zhao Feng has met with misfortune? Su Ren's heart skipped a beat. The 4 searched for a long time, but they couldn't find Zhao Feng. It's all your fault for being afraid of death. Brother Zhao is only 14, you let him go first. Lin Fan said angrily. Although he said this, Lin Fan still felt that Zhao Feng's disappearance was strange. Leader Huang, this forest is too weird. Let's retreat first and come back in the day. Xiao Sun suggested. Hearing this, Huang Yun and Su Ren both nodded. Ha ha ha, want to run? Don't even think about leaving. A weird laugh came from the forest. Boom, the entire forest shook violently in his field of vision, as if the mountains were collapsing and the earth was cracking. Not good. The 4 of them tensed up and their faces turned pale. Chapter 146. In their senses, the forest they were in was shaking violently, as if there was a giant creature trying to crawl out of the ground. Everyone be careful. There might be an array here. Huang Yun forced himself to calm down, but his palms were covered in cold sweat. In the face of unknown danger, the group formed a circle with their backs to each other, looking around cautiously. The forest was still shaking, but the four regained their composure. The forest isn't shaking, it's just an illusion from the array. Su Ren's eyes were sharp. Being disciples of the clan, Huang Yun and Su Ren had gone out many times to complete missions, so they had seen the world. Amongst arrays, there was an illusion array that could confuse the senses of living beings and create all sorts of illusions. Even though they knew this, the four didn't dare to act rashly, because they didn't know much about arrays. The only one in the group who understood arrays, Zhao Feng, had strangely disappeared when he was leading the charge. "Youngsters! This forest will be your burial ground." A hoarse and low voice echoed around the forest. Following which, the shaking of the forest returned to normal. The grass, the trees, the bricks, and the tiles didn't change at all. What happened just now was really just an illusion. However, before the few of them could heave a sigh of relief, streaks of faint purple blood threads intertwined and entwined between the trees. The faint violet strands of blood contained a bizarre power that would cause anyone who looked at them to shudder. They were like ripples in water, or like spiderwebs that spread out to cover an area of 1,000 feet. There were even traces of faint purple blood on the ground. My body, and my true force. Shao Sun felt his body being corroded, and even his true force was being suppressed. Not good, we've fallen into a poison array. Su Ren's expression changed. So, the illusion array was just to confuse them, and the real killer was this poison array. Everyone, quickly kill your way out of the forest. Huang Yun yelled as a layer of true force appeared on his body. Like a ball of fire, he leapt into the air, trying to kill his way out of the array. Su Ren, Shao Sun, and Lin Fan all used their mortal skills. When a giant faint purple ball of wind appeared above everyone's head, and as it spun, it released a strong gust of wind, turning the sky into a forbidden zone. Boom! Boom! Pang! The few of them had only moved a few feet away when they were forced to the ground by the strong wind. The poisonous wind in the surroundings was like a never-ending wave, coming at him in waves. Ignorant juniors, once you enter the absolute wind illusory poison formation, you won't be able to escape even if you grow wings. A withered and withered black-robed individual appeared in the formation. He sneered coldly, also a bit pleased with himself. The black-robed man slowly walked over, his body surrounded by a frightening layer of dark purple energy. An evil and sinister spiritual pressure descended from the sky, stifling the surrounding wind. The hearts of the four cultivators shuddered. Shao Sun, who had a weaker cultivation, had a pale face and almost suffocated. Third sky of the ascended realm. Who are you? Huang Yun's expression abruptly changed, and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. There was a possibility that this mission could be upgraded from level 2.5 to level 3, and now it had become a reality. If it was under normal circumstances, they would be able to fight back against those at the third sky of the ascended realm. But right now, they were in the deadly wind illusion poison array and the situation wasn't good. Xing Chen. How could it be you? Shao Sun looked at the skinny man in the black robe in shock. What? Xing Chen. Huang Yun and company exclaimed in shock. They didn't doubt Shao Sun's words. This was because Shao Sun came from the top hidden family in the Cloud Country and he had some dealings with the Xing family. Shao Sun had seen Xing Chen a few years ago, even though the latter's appearance had changed drastically and he was as ugly as a zombie. That's right, I'm Xing Chen. Today is the day you die. Before today, there have already been many batches of people that have died here. They were too weak and you're the strongest batch, so you'll be the last sacrifice. Xing Chen laughed savagely, but the muscles on his face were stiff and purple. It was obvious that Xing Chen's body wasn't that of a normal human anymore. Xing Chen. How dare you cultivate a demonic skill? Today, we'll team up and kill you. Huang Yun let out a loud shout and a snow-green, silvery saber appeared in his hand. It dragged along a cold saber chi, and a cold gust of wind swept forward. It was so strong that it made people's minds tremble. The blade in his hand was a low-grade mortal weapon, and with his strength at the second sky, he could even challenge those at the third sky of the Ascended Realm. Pang! With a flash of purple, Xing Chen's claw sent Huang Yun flying tens of yards away. How was this possible? Huang Yun's blood boiled and he almost coughed out blood. The azure moon blade in his hand was a mortal weapon and it was extremely sharp. But Xing Chen was able to take it head-on and injure him. The next instant, Su Ren held the Jinyue sword and he teamed up with Xiao Sun and Lin Fan to attack Xing Chen. Pew pew pew, the purple and black aura around Xing Chen was like a poisonous snake, but he wasn't injured at all. Even Su Ren, who was at the second sky of the Ascended Realm and had the Jinyue sword, could only leave a small mark on Xing Chen's body. His body has been refined by the corpse refinement technique, so his defense is extremely strong. Unless his vitals are pierced, he won't be able to escape. Su Ren's expression was filled with shock as he stared at Xing Chen's body. Xing Chen was like a living dead and there wasn't a single trace of blood on his skin. It was as hard as purple metal and his defense was shocking. Although the power of the absolute wind illusion poison formation can't kill a transcending mortal stage powerhouse, it can deplete your vitality and limit your strength. In less than an hour, your strength will be reduced by more than half. Xing Chen laughed evilly. Hearing this, the expressions of the four became uglier and their hearts burned with impatience. Inside the poison formation, their strength was restricted to a certain extent. The longer they dragged it out, the worse it was for them. However, Xing Chen's strength was shocking and his defense surpassed a normal cultivator's at the third sky of the Ascended Realm. Luckily, Xing Chen's speed was fast, but because his body had been refined by the corpse refining technique, his movements weren't as agile. The four of them teamed up and could even suppress him. When right at this moment, the forest shook violently again, causing the four of them to be slightly flustered. The absolute wind illusion poison array contained the power of an illusion array that could disturb one's mental state. Xing Chen. The array has been fully activated and there's still a brat that managed to escape. Two black-robed figures entered the formation and transmitted their voices. The auras of these two figures had reached the second sky of the Ascended Realm, which was much more terrifying than those at the same cultivation. That brat will need a few days to return to the Broken Moon clan, so there's no need to worry. Two deputy villa masters, follow me to kill these sect disciples. Xing Chen roared as his attacks became more ferocious. Xing Chen and the two vice heads formed a triangle formation and they used the power of the array to attack Huang Yun and company. I'll block Xing Chen, you guys try to kill the two vice heads. Huang Yun said. He was the strongest in the group and he was one of the top few at the second sky of the Ascended Realm. He had even challenged those at the third sky. He used his cyan moon blade and could barely keep up with Xing Chen, but he couldn't fight him head-on. On the other side, Su Ren, Xiao Sun and Lin Fan faced off against the two vice heads. Ding! Lin Fan's blade landed on the vice head's body and sparks flew, but he wasn't able to do any real damage. Instead, he was pushed back a few steps. He and Xiao Sun were barely able to hold off one of the vice leaders, and they were in imminent danger. This was because their attacks couldn't break through the vice head's corpse refining body. Su Ren was at the second sky of the Ascended Realm and he held the Jinyue sword, but he was only on par with the other vice head. The real danger was on Huang Yun's side. Xing Chen was simply too strong and if he wasn't careful, he would be slashed by the poisonous claws. Even if he didn't die, he would lose half his life. Does the heavens want me to die? Huang Yun felt his life force being corroded by the poison array and his true force became more and more difficult to circulate. Lin Fan and company's situation was even worse than his, they had to fight and suppress the poison at the same time. Wah! Huang Yun and Xing Chen clashed head-on and both of them spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were as white as paper. Now that Huang Yun was injured, it was a nightmare for the group to be annihilated. Huang Yun felt bitter in his heart. At the beginning, he didn't put this mission in his heart, his only goal was to kill Zhao Feng and Lin Fan. However, the difficulty of the mission had exceeded his expectations. It was even close to the 4th rank. Thinking about it now, Huang Yun felt as if he had been schemed against. Perhaps he was only a chess piece that Yuan Ji and Quan Chen were using, and they could throw him away at any time. If Xiao Feng was still here, his lightning wind palm's strength would be comparable to the second sky of the Ascended Realm. Furthermore, I've heard that he's a genius in arrays. Su Ren felt slightly regretful. The reason why he joined this mission was to take revenge on Xiao Feng and Lin Fan. Who would have thought that this would happen? Maybe Xiao Feng had been killed, but they wouldn't be able to escape from this nightmare. Lin Fan suddenly remembered what Xiao Feng had said before they left. I'm afraid that this mission won't go smoothly. If it was just me and Brother Lin, we might have a higher chance. Think about it, how could a group that was split up be able to complete the mission? At the start, if the entire group was united, then even if they couldn't complete the mission, they would have a high chance of escaping. Pang, with the sound of metal clashing, Lin Fan was sent flying onto the ground. The vice leader laughed savagely as he took Xiao Sun's attack head-on and leapt towards Lin Fan. Shwa! Seeing the vice leader's claws coming towards him, Lin Fan could even see the purple poison on the claws. My life is over. Lin Fan sighed in his heart. So, a golden arrow light that looked like a shocking arc, dragging along a piercingly cold and sharp green gust of wind. In the blink of an eye, it tore through the faint purple blood threads in the surroundings and hit the vice villa master. Talk! The vice leader's eye was pierced by the arrow and he screamed in pain. After all, he wasn't a real zombie. It was just that his body had been refined to be as hard as steel, but his eyes were still his weak points. Brother Zhao. Lin Fan looked at the figure on a tree 100 yards away. So, however, before he could react, the second arrow, with an even sharper force, pierced through the vice manor lord's throat. Plop! The deputy villa master died. His eyes and throat were two vital parts of his body that had been pierced by the terrifying power contained in the sharp arrow. The power of such an amazing archery made everyone present dumbfounded. Even someone as strong as the Xing family head's expression froze. Everyone looked at the youth standing at the top of the tree 1,000 feet away. His blue hair fluttered in the night wind. His single eye was cold, evil, and intelligent. Chapter 147. Brother Zhao. Zhao Feng. In this desperate situation, the 4 members of the team revealed looks of pleasant surprise. Zhao Feng stood on top of a tree and shot 2 arrows from 100 yards away, killing one of the vice heads. With one less vice head, Huang Yun and the others wouldn't have to worry about their lives for the time being. Kid! Didn't you already run away? How did you get past my guards? Xing Chen finally reacted and stared at Zhao Feng. Huang Yun and the others were also confused. Before, Zhao Feng had gone deep into the forest to chase after the enemy, but he had suddenly disappeared. Guards? With just a few half-baked array formation apprentices? Zhao Feng snickered coldly as he took out a bag and threw it forward. Gulu! 3 bloody heads rolled out of the cloth sack. My son! Xing Chen was enraged as he stared at Zhao Feng coldly. Huang Yun and the others took a closer look and found that the 3 heads were familiar. One of them was the housekeeper of the Xing family and the other 2 were the young masters. Without anyone managing this half-baked formation, there are only some materials and primal crystal stones left. It won't be able to operate for long. Zhao Feng said calmly. That was great. Huang Yun and the others were overjoyed. Once the array collapsed, they would be free and would have the chance to turn the situation around. This Zhao Feng is indeed a genius in the Tao of arrays. With just a few casual moves, he managed to turn the tide. Xiao Sun and the others looked at each other and they couldn't help but admire him. When Zhao Feng disappeared, he had secretly destroyed the deadly wind illusion poison array and killed the vice head at the critical moment. One could say that Zhao Feng had saved the entire mission team, saved all their lives. Su Ren and Xiao Sun, who had conflicts with Zhao Feng in the past, felt complicated and guilty. Bastard! I, Xing Cheng, will tear you to pieces for killing my son. Xing Chen roared as he turned into a purple blur and pounced towards Zhao Feng. Not good. Stop him. Su Ren, Xiao Sun and Lin Fan's expressions changed as they tried their best to stop him. From the perspective of the team, Zhao Feng, as a sharpshooter and a genius in array formations, played a crucial role, and the enemy must not be allowed to approach. Xing Chen wasn't driven by hatred and he knew this very well. Zhao Feng's archery was truly terrifying. If he were to stand far away, it would become a fatal long-range suppression. Ding bang bang, Su Ren, Lin Fan, and Xiao Sun's attacks landed on Xing Chen's body, but they couldn't deal any real damage. Xing Chen was originally at the third sky of the Ascended Realm, and after the corpse refining technique, his body had exceeded the limits of a human, especially his defense. In the group, the only person who could stop Xing Chen was the leader, Huang Yun. Huang Yun! Stop him! Lin Fan said urgently. Huang Yun's speed was extremely high, and being an elite at the second sky with a mortal weapon, he could even challenge those at the third sky. Ding! Huang Yun's blade landed on Xing Chen's head, but he didn't stop him. Instead, he retreated tens of steps as a cold light flashed in his eyes. Why was it like this? Lin Fan looked towards Huang Yun with hatred. Su Ren and Xiao Sun also fell into deep thought. I've offended a core disciple and an elder of the clan, so don't blame me. Huang Yun's expression was cold. Being in the clan, he knew that the strong ate the weak. Even if he knew that Yuan Ji and Quan Chen were using him, he would still choose the strong side. Yuan Ji was a core disciple and had an elder behind him, whereas Zhao Feng was just an ant at the first sky without any background. He would always stand on the side of the strong, no matter if it was right or wrong. This was what Huang Yun had learned after being in the clan for so many years. If he had to choose between Zhao Feng and a core disciple, he would rather be the latter's chess piece. Therefore, at the critical moment, Huang Yun didn't use all his strength to stop Xing Chen. He. Zhao Feng, who was standing on top of the tree, smiled weirdly. Shua! His body turned into a blur and a few illusionary figures appeared in everyone's sight, merging into the night. After comprehending the illusion fish picture, Zhao Feng's movement skill had reached the level of profound and illusory. What? Xing Chen's heart shook. He didn't know what kind of movement skill Zhao Feng had used, but he could only see a few illusionary figures. He didn't know which one to chase, so he could only watch as the Zhao Feng escaped. What kind of movement skill is that? The few people in the team looked at each other. Huang Yun's heart went cold as he saw the disappointment in Zhao Feng's eyes before he left. Zhao Feng had saved everyone's lives at the critical moment, allowing Xiao Sun and Su Ren to bury the hatchet. However, Huang Yun's killing intent towards him didn't waver at all. Zhao Feng disappeared once again and Xing Chen lost his target. His eyes turned red as he started to furiously attack Huang Yun and company. The power of the deadly wind illusion poison array wasn't destroyed in a short amount of time. Xing Chen's counterattack caught Huang Yun and company off guard. Zhao Feng! How dare you run away? After we finish the mission, I will definitely tell the elders to kick you out of the clan. Huang Yun circulated his true force and threatened. After the death of one of the Vice Hall Masters, Huang Yun could barely hold on with 4 against 2. As time passed, the array would collapse and they would at least be undefeatable. However, as time passed, the power of the deadly wind illusion poison array didn't dissipate. The 4 men in the formation had their bodily functions destroyed by the poison, and their true power was getting weaker and weaker. What's going on? Why hasn't the array dissipated yet? Huang Yun's breathing became rushed as cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He was being forced into a corner by Xing Chen. Because he was the leader and the strongest, Xing Chen's attacks were all aimed at him. Although the deadly wind illusion poison array isn't controlled by anyone, it won't dissipate in a short amount of time. In the depths of the forest, a youth murmured. Half the time it took to make tea later. Leader Huang Yun's injuries were not light. His strength had waned, and he only had 60 to 70% of his usual strength. Su Ren and the other two also faced danger from time to time, but they were fine. Bang! So, occasionally, an arrow would be shot out from the depths of the forest, saving them at the critical moment. So Brother Zhao was helping us from the shadows. Lin Fan's face was filled with gratitude and joy. Xiao Sun and Su Ren had also been helped a few times, so they were grateful towards Xiao Feng. Only Huang Yun's expression was dark as he roared. Of the group, he was the only one who hadn't received Xiao Feng's help. Even though he was in mortal peril, Xiao Feng had no intention of intervening. Xiao Feng! You shameless brat! You want to kill me? I'll report you to the law enforcement division when I return to the clan. Huang Yun roared. Law enforcement division. Hearing these three words, the hearts of Xiao Sun and company jumped. The Broken Moon clan was split into many departments, and the law enforcement division had the most power. It was the nightmare of those who broke the rules of the clan. Brother Huang's words are wrong. I tried my best, but I could only protect 3 people. Just like Brother Huang, you couldn't stop Xing Chen from chasing me. Zhao Feng's mocking voice sounded. As soon as he said this, Huang Yun was stunned. He had purposely let Xiao Feng go, and now Xiao Feng was purposely letting him go as well. An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. Huang Yun was speechless and he wanted to tear Xiao Feng's corpse into 10,000 pieces. On the other side, Xing Chen rejoiced in his heart. Luckily, this group couldn't work together or else it would be hard to deal with them. Just as he was thinking about this, the situation changed. A few gold arrows flashing with true power pierced through the night sky, flying towards the Manor Lord and Vice Manor Lord. Talk! The Vice Master's leg was hit by an arrow and his body staggered as he took a heavy blow from Su Ren and company. Zhao Feng's archery skills were stronger than he had imagined, and the places he hit were acupuncture points. Shoo! One of the arrows almost brushed past Xing Chen's eyelid, which made him break out in cold sweat. At the critical moment, Xiao Feng once again counterattacked, catching the enemies off guard. Shua! An illusory figure swooped down from midair. Lightning Wind Palm. The Vice and Xing Chen only heard the sound of thunder in their ears and their hearts trembled. Paw! A thunderous palm strike landed on the Vice Villa Master's body. The Vice Master's leg was injured, so he was hit in the back of the head by the lightning wind palm. Crack! The Vice Master didn't even have time to scream before his head split into pieces and he died on the spot. When he fell to the ground dead, everyone could still hear the sound of thunder in their ears. The power of the palm that killed the Vice Master even made Xing Chen, who had the highest cultivation, change his expression. At the same time, the faint purple lines of blood started to fall and the whirlwind above their heads started to dissipate. The array is broken. Everyone, let's team up and kill the Xing Chen. Huang Yun heaved a sigh of relief. His blood was roused as he shouted loudly. The battle intent of the 5 rose as they leapt towards Xing Chen. Run! Xing Chen panicked and he knew that there was nothing he could do. Without the restriction of the array, the 5 of them would become stronger and stronger. Being a cultivator at the 3rd sky of the Ascended Realm, Xing Chen's speed was extremely fast and only Huang Yun and Xiao Feng could catch up. Huang Yun was secretly surprised. He didn't think that a brat at the 1st sky of the Ascended Realm like Xiao Feng would be able to match his speed. One had to know that his speed was one of the top amongst those of the same rank and he could even compete with some of the disciples at the 3rd sky of the Ascended Realm. At a certain point in time, Xing Chen's figure flashed and he disappeared in front of a hill. Everyone paused as they watched their target disappear into the distance. There's an array here, so it's most likely Xing Chen's secret cave. Huang Yun's eyes twinkled with excitement as he arrived in front of the hill. A light flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes as he understood what was going on. From the reports, Xing Chen was only at the second sky of the Ascended Realm, which was the same as Lord Guanjuan. But how did he break through to the third sky of the Ascended Realm in such a short amount of time? Where did the poison that enveloped the entire manor come from? Huang Yun guessed that the secret cave hidden by the formation was likely to contain an evil inheritance, or even some ancient ruins with a completely different world within. Su Ren and company who had arrived at the hill were also full of questions and guesses. The answer was right in front of them. Brother Zhao, as long as you're willing to break the array, I'll give you 30% of the profits. Huang Yun squeezed out a smile as he messaged the azure-haired one-eyed youth next to him. Chapter 148. Out of the group of 5, only Zhao Feng understood arrays, and he was a famous array genius. At this moment, facing the wicked inheritance under the cover of the array, the 4 of them looked at him eagerly. Even the leader Huang Yun, who had previously bullied Zhao Feng, now had a flattering smile on his face. If I ask for help from the clan, then I won't be able to get any benefits from the wicked inheritance. Huang Yun had his own plans. Right now, he could only use Zhao Feng to break the array and enter the place of the wicked inheritance. First, he would be able to complete the mission, and second, he would be able to get the benefits from the inheritance. As for the promise of benefits, Huang Yun snickered coldly. His real goal for this mission was to kill Zhao Feng. If he could kill Zhao Feng during the inheritance, then he would be killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Zhao Feng stood in front of the hill with his eyes squinted, but he didn't say anything. Brother Zhao, I've heard that you're known as an array genius in the clan mission division. Can you break this array? Huang Yun's smile was bright and his voice was filled with respect. Su Ren and the others all looked expectantly at Zhao Feng. Don't try to get close to me. Zhao Feng's cold voice was like a stick hitting Huang Yun's head, causing his face to change between green and red. However, in front of the unknown benefits, he couldn't do anything. Brother Huang, Brother Zhao is breaking the array, let's not disturb him. Su Ren looked at Zhao Feng's focused expression and pulled Huang Yun to the side. Huang Yun's heart was filled with anger, but he could only give in. Zhao Feng stood in front of the hill with a mocking expression, not putting the benefits that Huang Yun had promised him to heart. As for the array in front of him, his mouth couldn't help but curl up. In terms of array skills, Zhao Feng was naturally better than some of the disciples, but compared to some of the older array masters, there was still a gap. If Zhao Feng had to set up a few arrays, he wouldn't even be able to beat some of the older array masters. However, if it was just breaking the array, Zhao Feng had great confidence. With the help of his mysterious left eye, he could even see some of the sect's large and profound formations. For example, Zhao Feng could be responsible for looking for flaws in the Thousand-Leaf Pool's origin-gathering formation. Zhao Feng had even found a loophole in the powerful formation set up in the Hollow Tower, which had a long history, and obtained quite a few mortal advanced rank cultivation techniques. However, Zhao Feng couldn't act too easily now. This illusory formation has probably lasted for 100 years. It is indeed extraordinary. Zhao Feng pretended to be deep in thought. He sighed softly and looked ahead with an infatuated expression. Huang Yun and the others behind him didn't even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that they would disturb him. After a long while, Zhao Feng's blindfold revealed a slit as he took out the golden stairs bow and fired several arrows from afar. Boom! Swoosh! The sharp and powerful golden arrow, dragged along the strong green glaze true power, pierced into the array in front of them. However, after the arrow disappeared, the array in front of them didn't change at all. Brother Zhao, can you do it or not? Huang Yun was slightly anxious. Zhao Feng didn't bother with him and he just stood there calmly. After waiting for a moment, the hill in front of them started to shake strangely. When a blood-red light flashed in the air and the hill in front of them disappeared. A cave appeared in the middle of the dust. The walls of the cave were suffused with a trace of strange blood, and the aura was gloomy, causing one to feel uneasy. Everyone stared at the entrance of the cave with excitement and their hearts started to beat faster. The array is broken. Zhao Feng let out a breath and said coldly, "Brother Huang. What are you waiting for? Do you want another disciple at the first sky of the ascended realm to lead the way for you?" Huang Yun's face went red and he said hesitantly, "I wonder if there's another array in the cave." Hee, that Xing Chen accidentally found a loophole in the array when he was at the second sky of the ascended realm. Does Brother Huang not have confidence in himself? Zhao Feng laughed lightly. Huang Yun was cunning, but he was also as timid as a mouse. "Since Brother Huang doesn't dare, then I'll go first." Su Ren's face was filled with anticipation, as if he wanted to give it a try. "Wait. Let me go first." Huang Yun smiled confidently and he once again went deeper into the cave. Xiao Sun and company were stunned. This Huang Yun changed his attitude way too fast. Zhao Feng laughed in his heart. This Huang Yun must be worried that Su Ren would get the treasures first. This was because Su Ren's cultivation was the closest to his. At the same time, Huang Yun wouldn't forget about Zhao Feng. This youth at the first sky might be even scarier. After all, no one who trained the lightning wind palm was normal. The first part of the cave was narrow and it could only fit one person at a time. After walking tens of yards, the path in front of them became wider. Zhao Feng noticed some details. There were obvious signs of someone digging this cave. As they went deeper into the cave, a cold and bloody aura became more obvious. This aura made Huang Yun's heart beat faster and he was overjoyed. His guesses were correct. There was indeed an inheritance of the wicked path in this cave. Only Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed as his left eye beat faster and he felt uneasy. According to his analysis, there was a high chance that there was an inheritance of the wicked path in this cave, but there was also another possibility. After 100 yards, the walls of the cave had turned crimson red. "Look!" Su Ren exclaimed as he looked ahead. At the front of the cave was a square made of crimson red rocks. On the square, there was a 10-yard-tall crimson statue that gave off an ancient aura. The blood-colored stone sculpture depicted a demon with cold eyes that looked down on the heavens. It had a head full of angry scarlet hair, and there was a scarlet moon between its eyebrows. Its eyes also flickered with scarlet light, and its body was as tall as a demon god. A pair of blood wings extended from the demon's back. They were over 100 feet wide and looked like they could blot out the sky and cover the sun. Facing the scarlet moon demon statue, Zhao Feng's heart moved. When he thought of his blue hair and blue eyes, he felt an inexplicable sense of resonance. It was just a blood-red statue, but when the 5 of them faced it, their hearts were shaken and they even had the illusion of worshipping it. Could this be? Xiao Sun stared at the scarlet moon demon statue in shock and fear. Zhao Feng could clearly see that Xiao Sun's pores were open and he was drenched in cold sweat. Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Huang Yun said word by word, his voice trembling. It was hard to tell if it was out of fear or excitement. Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Zhao Feng's heart shook as he suddenly remembered some related memories. A few hundred years ago, there was a super force called the Scarlet Moon demonic religion on the Green Flower continent. The sect master of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion was an anomaly to begin with. It was said that he obtained great fortune from an ancient inheritance and cultivated a peerless demonic art. His abilities surpassed countless experts on the continent. The Scarlet Moon demonic religion created by the Patriarch was glorious and almost no force could stop it. Putting aside the Broken Moon clan, even the super forces of the northern continent couldn't resist the army of the demonic religion. When the demonic religion was at its peak, it almost swept across the continent. At that time, all the forces on the continent, under the threat of danger, the 10 great clans teamed up and formed an alliance. Only then did they barely manage to destroy the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. In that era, there were countless experts at the True Spirit realm that died. There were even figures of sovereigns at the Origin Core realm. Even those legendary figures had to team up to fight against the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. As for whether the Scarlet Moon demonic religion patriarch was dead or alive, it was still a mystery. Some people said that the Scarlet Moon demonic religion patriarch had died, others said that he was sealed in a forbidden place, and others said that he had reincarnated and was waiting for a chance in the future to rise again. All in all, the Scarlet Moon demonic religion was a taboo on the continent and was the enemy of all the forces. It was just one step away from unifying the continent. This was something that had never happened in the past 10,000 years. At this point in time, knowing that this secret cave was connected to the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, everyone felt a chill run down their spine. This might be a small stronghold left behind by the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Since the demonic religion has been destroyed, there shouldn't be any leftovers here, or else Xing Chen wouldn't have been able to escape unscathed. Huang Yun took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. The five discussed for a while and decided to go deeper. After all, Xing Chen was able to escape unscathed and obtain fortune, meaning that there shouldn't be any threats in here. Otherwise, if there were any leftovers here, even if it was just a small fry, they wouldn't be able to stop them. Stepping onto the square, 3 man-made paths appeared in front of them. Of the 3 blood channels, the middle one was the largest. There are footprints in the middle path. Xing Chen should have gone in there. Let's try to kill him and complete the mission before thinking about anything else. Su Ren's suggestion received the approval of the others. The 5 of them walked straight towards the blood path in the middle. As they went deeper, the smell of blood became stronger. The unease in Zhao Feng's heart became more and more obvious. Huang Yun and company's hearts tensed up as they looked around cautiously. Finally, they reached the end of the path. A blood-colored cliff appeared in front of them, and below it was a pool of blood that had almost dried up. In the blood pool, there was a bloody corpse with dark silver stripes all over its body. Next to it was a lot of junk. "Sir, they actually came in. How is this possible?" Xing Chen sat next to the blood pond and looked at the 5 of them with fear. Obviously, he didn't think that the 5 would be able to pass through the array and enter the stronghold of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. "Sir? Could there be another person here?" The hearts of Zhao Feng and company skipped a beat. If there really were leftovers of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion here, they wouldn't be able to resist at all. Following Xing Chen's gaze, the 5's attention also landed on the silver-striped blood corpse. The remaining blood in the blood pool, or rather, the fresh blood, suddenly rippled. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat. In the next instant, a terrifying bloodthirsty aura spread out from the pool. The pressure almost made them puke blood. Plop! Plop! Xiao Sun and Lin Fan couldn't handle the pressure and they half knelt on the ground. The faint azure blood in Zhao Feng's body shook slightly and resisted the pressure that was pressing down on his soul and bloodline. "Ignorant brats, how dare you intrude the demonic religion's ruins and disturb my cultivation? Today, I will sacrifice you to recover from your injuries," a horrifying and cold voice echoed between the rock walls. The silver-striped blood corpse in the pool slowly climbed up, its eyes flashing with a scarlet light. It was unimaginable that a corpse that had lived for so long could climb up alive. Huang Yun and the others fell into endless fear, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. Chapter 149. The silver-striped blood corpses slowly climbed up from the dried-up blood pond. It was as if the dead had come back to life and an invisible mental energy pressure filled the area around the blood pond. When the entire cave and the wall seemed to be shaking under the power of the corrupt path. It was as if the entire mountain was shaking. Huang Yun and company fell into endless fear and their faces went white. They couldn't even think of resisting. "Sir, please spare us." Huang Yun, who was at the very front, was so scared that he peed his pants and with a plop, he kneeled on the ground. "Huang Yun. You're the leader, but you're afraid of death and you've submitted to the demonic religion." Su Ren and company felt their hearts go cold. As the leader, he had surrendered to the enemy. The unity of the group instantly collapsed. Under the curses of the others, Huang Yun knelt on the ground and begged the silver-striped blood corpses for mercy. Always standing on the side of the strong was Huang Yun's way of standing in the clan. Huang Yun had heard of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion from hundreds of years ago. Even a small fry in the demonic religion could kill normal disciples of small clans like them. Furthermore, from the aura of the silver-striped blood corpses, they weren't small fries. They were probably at the upper echelon of the demonic religion. In the past, any one of the upper echelon of the demonic religion could easily destroy a clan that was on the same level as the Broken Moon clan. Ha ha ha, juniors, this sir is the protector of the Blood Corpse chapter of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. If you surrender now, you might have a chance to live. Xing Chen's smug face appeared from the corner. Huang Yun greets protector. I'm willing to work for you. Huang Yun's face was filled with joy as he kowtowed to express his loyalty. Apparently, the Scarlet Moon demonic religion had 12 divisions and 108 divisions. They had infiltrated every corner of the continent and wanted to conquer it. Any one of the 108 divisions could easily destroy the 13 clans of the Cloud Alliance. Even with the help of the two strong countries, they still wouldn't be a match for them. From this, one could see how terrifying a division of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion was. The silver-striped blood corpse in front of him was actually a protector of the blood corpse division. Its position was second only to the division leader. Several hundred years ago, even the Broken Moon clan master would have to be respectful towards him. What should I do? Su Ren panicked and subconsciously looked towards Zhao Feng. He also didn't know why he would consult this blue-haired one-eyed youth. During the mission, Zhao Feng's calm mind and ability to control the situation were admirable. It was precisely because of him that the team was able to survive until now and even enter the Crimson Moon Devil Nest. Among the 5 of them, only Zhao Feng managed to keep his cool. Space in the left eye. The azure abyss gave off an ancient and profound aura that merged with the faint azure blood in his body, turning the external mental pressure into nothingness. Paw! Zhao Feng reached out and patted Lin Fan's shoulder. Lin Fan's mind shook, he felt a cold and agile true power unclog his suppressed qi and blood, and his trembling mind also calmed down. A look of gratitude appeared on his face as he forced himself to stand up and resist the mental pressure. Walking out of the abyss, Lin Fan felt that he had defeated the fear in his heart and the devil in his heart. Get up! Su Ren did the same thing and patted Xiao Sun, making the latter also get up. Xiao Sun and Lin Fan, who had successfully stood up, still felt suffocated as they faced the silver-striped blood corpses that stood up from the dried-up blood pool. But the team of 5 had recovered some of their strength, leaving only Huang Yun, who was kneeling on the ground, not daring to get up. Brats, why aren't you submitting to Lord Protector? Are you tired of living? Xing Chen saw them stand up and he yelled out. Woo! The silver-striped blood corpse slightly opened its mouth and a low voice sounded out, making everyone's hearts tremble. Out of the 5 of you, only 2 can live and become my slaves. Everyone else will be sacrificed for the blood sacrifice. The cold voice of the silver-striped blood corpse echoed around the walls. The expressions of the team of 5 changed. Especially Huang Yun, his eyes flashed with killing intent as he secretly circulated his true force. Hee, Leader Huang Yun, even if you kill 3 of us, the remaining 2 will not be able to escape the fate of being sacrificed. Zhao Feng's mocking voice sounded out. Huang Yun's kneeling body froze, not knowing if it was because Zhao Feng had seen through his intentions or because his mind was shaken. That's right. This demon just wants to split our strength, don't fall for it. Lin Fan exclaimed. In the face of death, only Zhao Feng was calm and unaffected by the silver-striped blood corpse's words. I've just awakened not long ago, and I happen to be short on manpower. How dare you question my words? Do you want me to slaughter all of you? The silver-striped blood corpse's voice became colder and colder, filled with killing intent. Everyone's hearts turned cold, not doubting the silver-striped blood corpse's strength and killing intent. Huang Yun's wavering heart quickly calmed down as he thought, if I submit, there's still hope. If I resist, there's no hope at all. Lord Protector. If you really have the ability, why don't you capture and kill us with a wave of your hand? Why do you need to go through so much trouble? Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he said coldly. As soon as he said this, the atmosphere became tense. Su Ren, Lin Fan and Xiao Sun were all smart people and they instantly understood what Zhao Feng meant. Since you've given up your last chance, then I'll kill you all. The silver-striped blood corpse's eyes flashed with a crimson light and a layer of purplish blood-colored corpse aura enveloped its body, condensing a soul-stirring pressure in the air. Shwa! The silver-striped blood corpse's figure flashed and it charged towards the group of 5 with Xing Chen following closely behind. Gulu! Huang Yun rolled on the ground in fear and he tried to meet up with the other 4. However, he had completely underestimated the silver-striped blood corpse's speed. The latter was much stronger than Xing Chen and it was close to the 4th sky of the ascended realm. Paw! The silver-striped blood corpse's silver claws slashed across Huang Yun's shoulder. Ah! Huang Yun screamed in pain as one of his arms fell off with a crack. At the same time, a corrosive and cold corpse poison entered his body. Save me! Huang Yun screamed as he begged Zhao Feng and company for help. The 4 took in a cold breath. They didn't think that the silver-striped blood corpse would have such terrifying strength when it was at its weakest. I'll go save Huang Yun and stall the corpse. You guys think of a way to kill Xing Chen. Zhao Feng pulled open his golden stairs bow and he sent a message to the other 3. Su Ren and the other 2 glanced deeply at Zhao Feng before leaping towards Xing Chen and attacking him. Zhao Feng's plan wasn't hard to guess: gather their firepower to kill Xing Chen and then beat the corpse. But before that, someone needed to restrain the strongest blood corpse. That was the key. However, could Zhao Feng really stall the corpse? A few golden arrows, dragging along a green true power undulation, shot towards the silver-striped blood corpses like lightning. Ding ding ding, the golden arrows hit the silver-striped blood corpse and sparks flew everywhere. The silver-striped blood corpse was only slightly blocked and the arrows didn't even break through its defense. Zhao Feng's heart jumped. The silver-striped blood corpse's strength at its peak was terrifying. Although it was extremely weak right now, its body was still strong and it could ignore attacks from anyone below the true spirit realm. Save me! Huang Yun had lost an arm and he used Zhao Feng's attacks to escape from the silver-striped blood corpse. Huang Yun! If you run, you'll die for sure. Hurry up and team up with me. Zhao Feng pulled open his golden stairs bow and he sent a message to Huang Yun. Huang Yun was, after all, an elite at the 2nd sky of the ascended realm and he had a mortal weapon, which meant that he could challenge those at the 3rd sky. If he teamed up with Zhao Feng, they might be able to stall for a while. But Huang Yun had already been scared out of his wits by the silver-striped blood corpse's attacks and he ran towards the exit. Crack! With a flash of purple and blood-red light, Huang Yun's body was torn in half by the silver-striped blood corpse. Zhao Feng's heart went cold and he shook his head. This Huang Yun was indeed unreliable. Chapter 150. Zhao Feng didn't put Huang Yun's life in his eyes, but he was disappointed that Huang Yun didn't even have the courage to fight to the death. Otherwise, if they dragged this out, Xing Yun would have been killed by the other 3 and they would have had a 60% chance of winning. There was a saying, don't be afraid of a godlike opponent, but be afraid of a pig-like teammate. At this moment, only Zhao Feng was left facing the silver-striped blood corpse. It's your turn soon. The silver-striped blood corpse stood in the pool of blood and licked its lips with a wicked smile. A layer of blood flowed around its body, forming a weird cycle with the blood of the corpse under its feet. At the end of the cave, on the other side, Su Ren, Xiao Sun and Lin Fan were forcing Xing Yun into a corner. When Xing Chen was in the forest, he was surrounded and injured. Now that he was being attacked by 3 people, he was at the end of his tether. Suddenly, Su Ren and the other 2 heard Huang Yun's scream. From the corner of his eyes, he saw Huang Yun's corpse lying in a pool of blood. Their hearts went cold. Not good. Brother Zhao. Lin Fan couldn't help but worry for Zhao Feng. But the 3 of them were also at a critical moment, and they could kill Xing Yun at any time. Xing Yun was forced into a dangerous situation, but he gritted his teeth and fought against the three of them. He knew that as long as he dragged this out, Zhao Feng would be killed by the Lord Enforcer, and the situation would turn around. The one in danger was still Zhao Feng. Facing the silver-striped blood corpse alone, would he be able to block it? Kakik, the silver-striped blood corpse stood in the pool of blood, and its eerie laughter sounded out. Zhao Feng didn't move as he pulled on his golden stairs bow and laughed coldly. "You think I'll let you get away with this?" As soon as he said this, his hand that pulled on the golden stairs bow glowed with green true force, which was much sharper than before. This was the true force of the heavenly wind god technique. So, 3 golden arrows with sharp green light trailing behind them formed a triangle and pierced towards the silver-striped blood corpses at lightning speed. One of the arrows shot towards the silver-striped blood corpse's eye at an even faster speed. The silver-striped blood corpse was shocked and quickly closed its eyes. Ding! 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 3 sharp arrows pierced the silver-striped blood corpses, causing sparks to fly. The silver-striped blood corpses were unharmed. This was not out of Zhao Feng's expectations. Hateful brat, the silver-striped blood corpse retreated a few steps in anger. As it turned out, Zhao Feng's real goal was to pierce the silver-striped blood corpse's knee joint and ankle with the other 2 arrows. The power contained within the 2 arrows could threaten cultivators at the 3rd sky of the Ascended Realm, and it made the silver-striped blood corpses take a few steps back. In this way, the silver-striped blood corpses left the pool of blood where Huang Yun was. The blood circulating on the silver-striped blood corpses suddenly disappeared. The blood sacrifice technique was interrupted by Zhao Feng. As it turned out, the silver-striped blood corpse's true purpose was to use a secret technique to absorb the blood essence left behind by Huang Yun's corpse to recover its strength. If it was a normal person, their blood would have no effect on the silver-striped blood corpses. But Huang Yun was at the peak 2nd sky of the Ascended Realm, and he had gone through a transformation at the Ascended Realm, so the power contained within his blood wasn't to be underestimated. The power of the heavenly wind god technique is indeed not simple. Zhao Feng thought as he pulled the golden stairs bow once again and started to attack the silver-striped blood corpses. Ding ding ding. The silver-striped blood corpses blocked all the attacks and it leapt towards Zhao Feng. Shwa! Zhao Feng quickly put away the golden stairs bow and his figure turned into a few blurs as he escaped in different directions. Ignorant brat! The silver-striped blood corpses laughed mockingly as it locked onto Zhao Feng's true body and chased after him. Zhao Feng's heart clenched and he soon understood that although the silver-striped blood corpses had lost its power, its cultivation was still high and it wouldn't be tricked by his illusion fish movement skill. Shwa! Several figures disappeared, and Zhao Feng's true body glowed with a transparent azure light. His speed suddenly increased by another level. Crack! The silver-striped blood corpse's palm missed and shattered the stone wall. Zhao Feng's speed suddenly rose to a terrifying level and he was as agile as a fish. He circulated the heavenly wind god technique, and under the effect of the true force, his speed had reached a whole new level. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's movement skill was based on the high-class mortal movement skill, and the illusion fish picture was the core of it. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's speed could easily deal with those at the peak 3rd sky of the Ascended Realm. The silver-striped blood corpse's attacks all missed and it roared furiously, causing illusions to affect it. If it was anyone else, even those at the 4th sky of the Ascended Realm or higher, they wouldn't be able to escape. Unfortunately, his opponent was Zhao Feng, who was almost immune to mental illusions. Protector, it looks like you've just woken up and your body is still stiff. Although your defense is strong, the power in your body isn't limitless. As Zhao Feng moved, he faintly smiled. According to his plan, as long as Xing Chen was killed by Su Ren and the others, they would be able to exhaust the silver-striped blood corpses to death. Since I can't do anything to you, then I'll kill the other 3 first. A cunning light flashed in the silver-striped blood corpse's eyes as it charged towards Su Ren and the others. Not good. Zhao Feng's expression changed dramatically. The enemy he was facing was an old monster that had lived for hundreds of years and was a middle-tier figure in the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. How could it be easy to deal with? Seeing the silver-striped blood corpse's mental energy pressure, the walls seemed to shake as it charged towards Su Ren and the others. The hearts of Su Ren and the other two trembled, which allowed Xing Chen to grasp a chance of survival. He circulated his true force and turned into a blood-red figure as he escaped out of the cave. Zhao Feng only had two choices: 1, to kill Xing Chen. 2, to save the other three. With a thought, Zhao Feng made the second choice and he chased after the silver-striped blood corpses. Lightning Wind Palm. The wind howled like thunder and it covered the entire area, which shook the hearts of Su Ren and the other two, allowing them to break free from the illusions created by the mental energy pressure. Boom! Zhao Feng and the silver-striped blood corpses clashed. After the thunderous roar, the two of them suddenly separated. Zhao Feng's body flew backwards and his palm went numb. He almost spat out blood on the spot. The silver-striped blood corpse's strength and attack was extremely terrifying. It was close to the fourth sky of the Ascended Realm. Weak lightning power, the silver-striped blood corpses stood on the spot and it stared at the small black mark on its palm, which soon healed. Zhao Feng was surprised. Under the heavenly wind god technique's true force, the lightning wind palm had such terrifying power. After all, the foundation of the lightning wind palm was the power of the wind. And the heavenly wind god technique was without a doubt the best. It contained the first three moves of the four wind stances and the mysterious wind palm. Apart from that, Zhao Feng felt that the power of lightning seemed to be able to counter the silver-striped blood corpse's skills. Brother Zhao, let's team up and kill this brat. Su Ren waved the Jinhua sword in his hand and attacked the silver-striped blood corpses from behind. Zhao Feng circulated his lightning wind palm and attacked the silver-striped blood corpses head-on. Lin Fan and Xiao Sun, who were the weaker ones, didn't dare to get too close. A few ants dare to dream of killing me? The silver-striped blood corpses laughed instead of getting angry, and it waved its claws, creating a purple and blood-red light that pierced tens of yards around it. Ding ding pang, under the combined attacks of the four, the silver-striped blood corpses had the upper hand. Ding! Lin Fan and Xiao Sun's swords were chipped off and even cracked. Only Su Ren's mortal weapon was undamaged, but it almost fell out of his hands when he clashed with the silver-striped blood corpses. Wah! Under the clash, Su Ren spat out a mouthful of blood. Zhao Feng wasn't much better off. His organs and meridians were slightly injured, and this was under the protection of the silver wall technique. Although his attacks were strong and could threaten those at the third sky of the Ascended Realm and his lightning wind palm could counter the silver-striped blood corpses, he still couldn't face the silver-striped blood corpses head-on. At this moment, apart from Zhao Feng, the other three were all heavily injured. After a few exchanges, the silver-striped blood corpses realized that Zhao Feng was hard to deal with and he countered it in every aspect. So, it turned its attention to Su Ren and the other two. Ding! Kacha! Lin Fan's long blade was broken by the silver-striped blood corpses and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Xiao Sun was also sent flying by a purple and blood-red light, and a bloody gash appeared on his shoulder. The two's true strength was comparable to those at the second sky of the Ascended Realm, but they were sent flying in the blink of an eye. Zhao Feng's expression was solemn. It was too hard to beat the silver-striped blood corpses today. Because Su Ren and the other two couldn't be like him. Their speed, offense, and defense had all reached a high level and they couldn't resist the mental energy of the silver-striped blood corpses. You guys retreat, I'll stall it. Zhao Feng decisively said. Brother Zhao, you be careful too. Dragging their exhausted bodies, the three of them retreated out of the cave. They knew that only Zhao Feng could stall the silver-striped blood corpses and they would only be burdens. Lightning Wind Palm. Burning Wind Stance. While the three were retreating, Zhao Feng used his strongest attack to stop the silver-striped blood corpses from chasing after him. Unexpectedly, the silver-striped blood corpses didn't stop him, and instead, a wicked smile appeared on its lips. It's too late. Today, all of you will die here. Zhao Feng paused and he felt that something was wrong. Plop! After retreating tens of yards, Xiao Sun's body froze and he fell onto the ground. Brother Xiao. Su Ren and Lin Fan helped Xiao Sun up and found that there was a purple-black line on the latter's forehead and his body was stiff. All of you have been poisoned by my corpse poison. Even if I don't do anything, you will all die. The silver-striped blood corpses laughed and stopped attacking. Plop! Immediately after, Lin Fan's body froze and he fell onto the ground. Su Ren's body wobbled and he barely turned around to look at Zhao Feng before falling onto the ground. Corpse poison. When did we get poisoned? Zhao Feng's heart went cold. When his blood calmed down, he felt a weird cold energy spread throughout his organs. My corpse poison can be resisted during battle due to the boiling of my blood. But once my blood calms down, this energy will spread throughout my body and you will become a living dead within 3 days. The silver-striped blood corpses licked its lips and smiled eerily. Living dead? Zhao Feng couldn't help but shiver as he understood what this meant. At this moment, Su Ren and the other two closed their eyes and fainted. Maybe it was because they were too tired or maybe it was because the corpse poison was threatening their lives. You're only at the first sky of the ascended realm, but your resistance to the corpse poison seems to be stronger than theirs. The silver-striped blood corpses said with surprise. Zhao Feng was still standing there, completely unharmed. Chapter 151. 1 breath. 2 breaths. 3 breaths. Zhao Feng stood there calmly, as if nothing had happened. The silver-striped blood corpse waited for a full 10 breaths, but Zhao Feng was still fine and his face was even redder. How was this possible? Shock appeared on the silver-striped blood corpse's face. After sleeping for hundreds of years, even if its poison was weakened, it should still be able to deal with cultivators below the 4th sky of the ascended realm. But Zhao Feng was still standing there unharmed. In reality, when the corpse poison spread, the mysterious azure blood in Zhao Feng's body activated and instantly cleared it out with an unstoppable force. As for the rest of the time, Zhao Feng circulated his true force to heal his injuries, allowing his blood to flow more smoothly. This poison is only a so-so. Zhao Feng felt that it was unbelievable. Such a powerful poison was like snow meeting the sun in front of the azure blood. What kind of freak is this kid? The silver-striped blood corpse's eyes narrowed and its expression changed. But it was an old monster that had lived for many years, so it soon smiled. Kid, even if you can counter the poison, how long can you last against me? The battle just now had proved the truth. Even if the 5 of them were unharmed, they still wouldn't be able to win against the silver-striped blood corpse. Then let's try, Zhao Feng murmured to himself, expressionless as he slowly took off the eye patch. Eye patch? The silver-striped blood corpse finally noticed that Zhao Feng had been using his one eye to fight with it. When the eye patch was taken off, an azure eye was revealed, as if there was a bottomless abyss in it. That eye, the silver-striped blood corpse's heart skipped a beat as it stared at Zhao Feng's eye, as if it was sucked into a bottomless abyss. In the air, a pair of blood-red eyes collided with a pair of pure green eyes. A formless mental energy spread out in the air. The silver-striped blood corpse felt that the opponent's left eye was like an invisible mental energy blade, emitting an ancient aura that instantly destroyed all of its mental energy. That was to say, even if the silver-striped blood corpses had a certain advantage in terms of mental energy, they had no advantage in front of Zhao Feng. They might even be restrained. Powerful. What a strange power, Zhao Feng was excited. Ever since his left eye had evolved, this was the first time he had shown his power in front of the world. At this moment, his left eye brought him into an even more powerful supersensory interface. In the air, wind, dust, particles, light, heaven's yuan qi, and all kinds of subtle forces were all clearly seen by Zhao Feng's left eye. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's left eye could see through the body of the silver-striped blood corpses and see the internal organs. The sharpness of his left eye could pierce through rocks. With a casual sweep, Zhao Feng discovered that there were many valuable items in the rock walls and the blood pool, including the clothes of the silver-striped blood corpses, the blood ring on their thumb, and a few items hidden in their bags. This feeling seemed to dictate everything in the world. Facing him, the silver-striped blood corpses shuddered. For some reason, he suddenly thought of the Scarlet Moon religion leader from hundreds of years ago, the demonic cultivator who stood at the peak of the continent. Even if he was the protector of the division, he had only met the religion leader once. From then on, he could never forget the pair of eyes that were like the eternal scarlet moon. At this moment, a feeling similar to eye contact appeared in his heart. Lightning wind palm. Zhao Feng's figure slowly closed in. The thunderous palm power was more condensed, more precise, and more cunning, aiming for the left chest of the silver-striped blood corpses. How did he know that my wound is here? The silver-striped blood corpse's heart shook. The same move, the same true power, on the same person, the power and lethality were completely different. Zhao Feng felt that he had merged with a strange mental energy, the same power and move, had a greater lethality, and the threat to the enemy had increased. The place he attacked, the angle, was the place where the silver-striped blood corpses could not move. Pang pang. Zhao Feng and the silver-striped blood corpses clashed once again. But this time, Zhao Feng's lightning wind palm followed a special path and headed for the silver-striped blood corpse's most heavily injured organs. Tang! The two figures quickly separated. Despite the difference in strength, Zhao Feng was still pushed back, his blood boiling. The silver-striped blood corpse's expression changed dramatically and its body stiffened, as if it had suffered a loss. Burning wind stance. Zhao Feng circulated his heavenly wind god technique and it was as if his entire body was enveloped in a tornado. It was obviously a wind skill, but it still released a destructive wave of fire. In that instant, the temperature of the surroundings rose and the air seemed to be compressed to the extreme, exploding with destructive power. The burning wind stance's power was almost on par with the lightning wind palm, but the advantage was that Zhao Feng's comprehension was deeper. Using the heavenly wind god technique, the power reached a terrifying level, enough to threaten many cultivators at the third sky of the ascended realm. An even more violent explosion and shockwave swept tens of yards, causing the surrounding rocks to tremble. Zhao Feng and the silver-striped blood corpses separated once again. Brat, fuck off. Leave those brats as a sacrifice and I'll spare your life. The silver-striped blood corpses took a deep breath and its expression was ugly, but it finally gave in. After sleeping for hundreds of years, its energy was not even at 20% of its peak. Adding on the fact that it was heavily injured, it didn't have the strength to fight with Zhao Feng. Get out of here. Leave behind the ring in your hand and the bag in your pocket and I'll spare your life. Zhao Feng's left eye flashed with a sharp azure light and he didn't back down. Ring? Bag? You're courting death. The silver-striped blood corpses paused for a moment before roaring angrily. The blood on its body seemed to be burning and a layer of purple flames appeared on its palm. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat as he stared at the purple flames on the silver-striped blood corpse's palm. It was said that when one reached the true spirit realm, they would be able to condense a unique true life flame, which was the essence of the body. Of course, the silver-striped blood corpse's energy was exhausted and it hadn't recovered yet, so it couldn't condense a true life flame. Extinguish, the silver-striped blood corpses snarled as it turned into a blur and waved its claws, sending a purple flame towards Zhao Feng. The terrifying power made Zhao Feng's heart jump and he felt like he was suffocating. Burning wind stance. Zhao Feng roared as a layer of azure blood surged out from his body and merged into the heavenly wind true force. In that instant, a power that surpassed the limits of his body exploded and his energy, aura and soul rose. The heavenly wind true force, which was originally of a higher level, was miraculously raised to another level. The instant the palm was thrust out, one could see the destructive azure flames that destroyed everything in the world. Boom! The silver-striped blood corpse's claw that had turned into purple flames shook violently. After enduring for half a breath, it quickly disappeared. Tang! 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 The silver-striped blood corpses retreated as it stared at the azure ripple around Zhao Feng's body. Ancient bloodline, boom! The cyan flame suddenly burst out and sent him flying, crashing into the blood-colored rock wall on the opposite side. Immediately after, the blood-colored wall started to shake. Wah! The silver-striped blood corpse's old injuries caused it to spit out blood and sink into the wall as it stared at Zhao Feng in fear. Ancient bloodline, azure eyes. Which ancient race does this power belong to? When has such a pure ancient bloodline aura appeared in the green flower continent? Ancient bloodline. Zhao Feng realized that the azure ripple was slowly merging into his body. This power is called ancient bloodline. Through his left eye, he could easily control this mysterious power. When he had used this power and merged it with the burning wind stance and heavenly wind god technique, it had exploded with such a terrifying power. Zhao Feng was sure that the attack just now had affected the silver-striped blood corpse's old injuries. Now, as long as he conserved his energy, he would be undefeatable and have the upper hand. Ignorant brat, looks like you don't understand the treasures in your body. Ancient bloodline is one of the inherited powers of the bloodline, and it is one of the most ancient and powerful ones. The silver-striped blood corpses struggled to walk out of the hole in the wall. Bloodline power. Why is it that the sect's natural endowments only mentioned a spirit body but not a bloodline inheritance? Zhao Feng was confused as he muttered to himself. Bloodline inheritance is extremely precious and ancient. Even the lowest grade of bloodline inheritance is comparable to a supreme spiritual body. Furthermore, before the bloodline awakens, there is no way to measure it. The silver-striped blood corpses mocked. So that's how it is. Zhao Feng's face was cold as he slowly condensed his true force and activated the azure blood, preparing to attack the silver-striped blood corpses. Brat! Stop! Even if you use your bloodline power, the most you can do is take me down with you. Sharpness flashed in the silver-striped blood corpse's eyes. As one of the leaders of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, a skinny camel was still bigger than a horse. If Zhao Feng forced him into a corner, he really might do something desperate. Your injuries are serious and your speed isn't as fast as mine. If this drags on, the chances of you dying will be higher than me. Furthermore, this is the territory of the Broken Moon clan. Zhao Feng's eyes were sharp and calm. The silver-striped blood corpses paused and gritted its teeth. If Zhao Feng really did this, he might really be able to kill it. Brat, what do you want? The silver-striped blood corpses was furious. Leave behind the ring in your hand and the things in the bag. Zhao Feng's left eye was as sharp as a blade and it seemed to be able to see all the secrets of the silver-striped blood corpses. His left eye could see the silver-striped blood corpses and all the valuable things in the cave. Everything else is fine, but this ring is the token of the protector of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Even if you take it, it won't have much use and it might even attract death. The silver-striped blood corpses suppressed the anger in its chest. When had it ever been forced to this degree by an ant at the first sky of the Ascended Realm? But thinking about it, the other party had an ancient bloodline and was blessed by the heavens. The other party would definitely be a prodigy in the future. The silver-striped blood corpses comforted itself like this. Zhao Feng thought that before he had the absolute advantage, he shouldn't force the other party too much, so he nodded his head in agreement. Soon, the silver-striped blood corpses took out a bag which contained a few blood pills, a beast-skin scroll and a broken blood-colored sword. When it handed over these items, the silver-striped blood corpse's face was filled with pain and unwillingness. Chapter 152. Zhao Feng looked at the spoils of war in front of him, blood pills, beast-skin scroll, blood-colored sword, but he didn't immediately let the silver-striped blood corpse go. Being an old monster that had lived for hundreds of years, the silver-striped blood corpse obviously knew what Zhao Feng meant. These blood essence pills are made from the blood essences of hundreds of people above the 7th level of the consolidated realm, including the blood essences of 4 people above the transcending realm, and dozens of precious materials. Eating this pill will help cultivators below the third sky of the ascended realm increase their cultivation. At the same time, these blood essence pills can cure your fellow disciples of the same sect. The silver-striped blood corpse explained. Zhao Feng saw that there were exactly 4 blood essence pills in his hand. It was hard to imagine that it contained hundreds of lives. Just thinking about it made his heart go cold. Wicked people were indeed cruel and bloody. Why don't you eat these blood essence pills yourself to recover your strength? Zhao Feng had a questioning expression. The silver-striped blood corpse smiled bitterly. These blood essence pills are only effective for those below the third sky of the ascended realm. I'm still lacking some blood essence materials to refine the blood jade pills, so I'll give them to you guys. Hearing this, Zhao Feng sniffed the blood essence pills and said in disdain, the method to refine these blood essence pills isn't very good. Although it can increase your cultivation in a short amount of time, it will leave some hidden injuries in your body. Zhao Feng had a certain level of understanding in pill refining. All he had to do was touch and sniff the blood essence pills, and he could roughly identify them. The silver-striped blood corpse paused. It didn't think that the troublesome brat in front of it would know pill refining and even mock its pill refining methods. Ignorant brat. I don't have any smithing tools, but using blood essence to refine these blood essence pills is already extraordinary. The silver-striped blood corpse almost went crazy. How could it take being mocked by a brat? Furthermore, pill refining was its forte. He could refine pills without a pill furnace. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be in awe as he looked at the silver-striped blood corpses with surprise. This beast skin map is an incomplete map. It's related to a certain mysterious treasure of inheritance. I've studied it for decades, but I haven't made any progress. It doesn't matter if I give it to you. The silver-striped blood corpse continued. Zhao Feng took a look and saw that there was indeed an incomplete map on the beast hide scroll. The way it was drawn was extremely strange, like a maze, making it difficult to figure out the truth. Whoosh! His left eye flashed with a green luster, and the contents of the beast hide scroll were taken away. In the end, only a blood-red broken sword was left. Gently touching the blood-colored broken sword, Zhao Feng's body turned cold and his heart trembled. He felt an endless bloody aura rushing into his soul, almost causing him to lose his mind. At the critical moment, the azure abyss in the dimension of his left eye released an ancient aura that blocked the terrifying aura. What a terrifying blood-fiend aura! Zhao Feng couldn't estimate the grade of this broken sword. The silver-striped blood corpse was slightly disappointed. It didn't think that a junior at the first sky of the ascended realm like Zhao Feng could withstand the aura of a spiritual grade weapon. This is a broken spiritual grade weapon. When it was complete, it was close to the high-grade spiritual grade. Even now, it's still comparable to the low-grade spiritual grade. Those at the true spirit realm can't use it. The silver-striped blood corpse looked at the broken sword unwillingly. Spiritual grade weapon. Close to the high-grade spiritual grade. Zhao Feng's heart shook when he heard the grade of the broken sword. According to what he knew, the Broken Moon clan had a spiritual grade weapon, but it was only a low-grade spiritual grade weapon. The weapons in this world were split into mortal grade, spiritual grade, earth grade and heaven grade. Spirit grade divine weapons were basically the highest grade in the continent, and they possessed earth-shattering extraordinary power. Su Ren's Jinhua sword was only a low-grade mortal grade weapon, but it could increase the user's battle power. On the other hand, a spiritual grade weapon's power was hundreds of times stronger. Zhao Feng's golden stairs bow could only be considered a half-mortal grade weapon. In the world of clans, mortal grade weapons were the mainstream and middle grade weapons were extremely rare. All of them had been around for hundreds of years and they were priceless. Unfortunately, it's a spiritual grade weapon. Zhao Feng felt slightly regretful, but he didn't feel any greed or joy. Spiritual grade weapons were too much for him and it could be said that they were useless. Even if he could forcefully use a spiritual grade weapon, it would instantly suck all his energy. Furthermore, this broken sword was extremely weird and if he wasn't careful, it could backfire on his consciousness. If it was possible, Zhao Feng would rather have a complete middle-grade mortal-grade weapon, or even a low-grade mortal-grade weapon. After arranging the spoils of war, Zhao Feng left with the silver-striped blood corpse. When the silver-striped blood corpse passed by the three of them, Zhao Feng's left eye flashed with a sharp green light, as if it could see through everything in the world. The silver-striped blood corpse thought to itself that Lin Fan's bloodline was terrifying and any movement it made would be sensed. Its old injuries had worsened and it was extremely weak, but it was afraid that Zhao Feng would continue pestering it, so it didn't dare to do anything. Zhao Feng stared at the silver-striped blood corpse until it reached the exit of the cave. "Brat, the formation outside was broken by you?" The silver-striped blood corpse looked at the broken formation and asked. "That's right, what else do you have to say?" Facing the silver-striped blood corpse, Zhao Feng felt a lot of pressure and didn't dare to let his guard down. After all, the silver-striped blood corpse was a monster that had lived for hundreds of years and was the protector of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. At its peak, it could kill him with a flick of its finger. "Brat, with your bloodline and aptitude, staying in a small sect is a complete waste of God's gifts. If you're interested, I'm willing to accept you into the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. I believe that the demonic religion will rise again soon and sweep across the continent." "Don't talk." Zhao Feng cut off the silver-striped blood corpse's words. The silver-striped blood corpse wasn't surprised and it turned into a blood-red blur that merged into the night. "Zhezhe, brat surnamed Zhao, I'll remember you." Before it left, a sinister laughter resounded throughout the cave. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly, but he knew that the silver-striped blood corpse would find a hidden place to rest and wouldn't dare to come out for a while. After all, this was the territory of the Broken Moon clan. Once he was found, he would be hunted down by the 13 clans. Zhao Feng returned to the depths of the cave and arrived in front of the three. The three of them had fought many battles and were exhausted. Adding on the corpse poison, they had all fainted. Zhao Feng helped them up and leaned against the wall. "Brother Zhao, where did the blood corpse go?" Lin Fan was the first to wake up. At this time, Zhao Feng had already put on his eye patch and he still had the azure hair and one eye. The blood corpse's old injuries acted up during the battle and it ran away. Zhao Feng gave a simple summary of what happened afterwards. Lin Fan looked at him meaningfully and didn't ask any more questions. He remembered that before he fainted, he saw an azure-haired youth taking off his eye patch and facing the silver-striped blood corpse. Even when he fainted, he could feel the commotion outside. Looking at the blood pond, there were obvious signs of an intense battle. Lin Fan understood that the battle after he fainted wasn't as simple as he thought. Not long later, Xiao Sun and Su Ren also woke up. The speed of waking up was related to one's willpower and Lin Fan was the strongest of the three. After waking up, their bodies were still cold and weak as the corpse poison spread deeper and deeper. They tried to use the antidote pills of the clan, but there was no effect. If they couldn't find a way to detoxify the poison within 3 days, they would become zombie-like, living dead, or even real zombies. "I'm afraid it's too late to ask the clan for help. It'll take at least a few days to return to the Sky Moon Mountain. Furthermore, we're poisoned and can't move." The three fell into endless despair and fear. "Brother Zhao, if we can't find the antidote within 3 days, you will kill us." Lin Fan gritted his teeth. Once the corpse poison seeped into their bones, they would become zombies and lose their consciousness. "Brother Zhao, why aren't you poisoned?" Su Ren asked confusedly. "Maybe it's because my body is special." Zhao Feng took out 3 blood essence pills and gave them to the three. "This is..." Lin Fan and the other 2 took the blood essence pills hesitantly. "This is what the blood corpse protector dropped when he ran away. I've analyzed it and it can activate the meridians and even increase cultivation in a short period of time," Zhao Feng explained. Hearing this, Su Ren and Xiao Sun were hesitant. How could they casually use the pills left behind by the blood corpse protector? "I believe in Brother Zhao. Since we're going to die anyway, there's no harm in trying." Lin Fan swallowed a blood essence pill without hesitation. Moments later, a surge of pure blood energy came from Lin Fan's body. This blood essence pill is indeed effective. Not only did it cure the corpse poison, it also increased my body's functions and true force. Lin Fan said with a face of joy. Su Ren and Xiao Sun were both shocked and immediately took the blood essence pill, which was indeed able to cure the corpse poison. This blood essence pill is probably a real spiritual pill. It's much stronger than the marrow cleansing pill. Zhao Feng silently swallowed the last blood essence pill. He understood the effects of the blood essence pill. Although it could increase cultivation in a short period of time, it had a negative effect on the body. Furthermore, the silver-striped blood corpses didn't have a cauldron and the quality of the pill was not good either. Therefore, Zhao Feng generously gave the 3 blood essence pills to cure the corpse poison. Su Ren and the others were extremely grateful towards Zhao Feng. Even though they had some conflicts in the past, they had all forgotten about it. If it wasn't for Zhao Feng, they would have died many times over. Half a day later, the group had all cured the corpse poison and the blood essence pill had greatly increased their body's functions. Zhao Feng estimated that he would be able to break through to the second sky of the ascended realm in a few days. The difficulty of this mission will probably be increased to 4. Adding on the fact that we found the Scarlet Moon demonic religion's stronghold, we've done a great job. Xiao Sun said excitedly, as if he could foresee the clan's rewards. The group laughed out loud, but they didn't feel much sympathy for Huang Yun's death. If we want to complete the mission, it's best if we can capture Xing Chen. Lin Fan suggested. That's easy. Zhao Feng was extremely confident. He knew that Xing Chen wouldn't be able to run far due to his injuries. After saying this, he quickly left the cave. Half an hour later, Zhao Feng carried the dying Xing Chen back to the cave. This scene had Lin Fan and the other 2 gaping mouths agape. That was way too fast. They couldn't imagine Zhao Feng's tracking method. In reality, when Zhao Feng had first entered the Xing family, he had already memorized the entire layout of the village. He followed Xing Chen's footsteps and used his left eye to see all the traces. It was more effective than any other method of tracking. Chapter 153. Xing Chen was captured alive and the mission was finally over after so many twists and turns. Next, they started to interrogate Xing Chen. Xing Chen's face was as white as paper and he was extremely weak. He couldn't hide the fear in his eyes as he looked at Zhao Feng. After escaping from the Scarlet Moon demonic cave, Xing Chen used his familiarity with the terrain to find a place to recover. Xing Chen was very confident that apart from himself, no one else knew where he was hiding. Moreover, he had set up traps and mechanisms in his hiding place to ensure that nothing would go wrong. Even if someone chased after him, he would be able to predict in advance. However, all these defensive measures were useless before the evil and cold green-haired young man. Zhao Feng didn't trigger any of the traps and he silently entered the hiding place. Xing Chen sensed danger and he immediately found Zhao Feng. With his cultivation at the 3rd sky of the Ascended Realm, it should be easy for him to deal with a junior at the 1st sky of the Ascended Realm. But what he didn't expect was that in front of the azure-haired youth, he was captured alive in just a few moves. Thinking about how he had been captured alive by a youth at the 1st sky of the Ascended Realm, he was still filled with shock and fear. Under their questioning, Xing Chen told them everything he knew and everything that had happened. It all happened a few months ago. At that time, the Xing family was secluded from the world and Xing Chen was still at the 2nd sky of the Ascended Realm, unable to break through. One day, Xing Chen was chasing after a peak-tier deadly beast and he accidentally found the illusion array of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion's hideout. Xing Chen knew a thing or two about arrays, so he spent a lot of effort to enter the cave through the flaw in the array. I was filled with excitement when I entered the cave, but I met the protector of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion's Blood Corpse chapter. At that time, the Blood Corpse protector was extremely weak and had just woken up, so he wasn't my match. But this person was extremely cunning and he used treasures and secrets to trick me. Speaking up to here, Xing Chen let out a long sigh and his face was filled with regret. Zhao Feng could guess the rest of the story. Xing Chen was accidentally poisoned by the corpse poison and was threatened by the blood corpse protector. From then on, Xing Chen could only listen to the orders of the blood corpse protector. On one hand, it was to protect himself, and on the other hand, it was to increase his cultivation. In just a few months, Xing Chen had broken through his bottleneck and reached the third sky of the Ascended Realm. He admired the blood corpse protector even more and wanted to join the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Where did the plague in the villa come from? What is its purpose? Su Ren questioned. Xing Chen's face was bitter. The plague was spread according to Protector's wishes. The goal was to create the Blood Essence Pill and the Blood Jade Pill to attract other Ascended Realm cultivators from the Cloud Country. According to the plan, if I can capture all of you in one fell swoop, the fusion of the Blood Jade Pill will be successful. At that time, Protector's injuries will heal a bit and his strength will rise to the fifth sky of the Ascended Realm. Then, he will leave the cave and search for other ruins. After learning the truth, the four of them felt a chill in their hearts and broke out in cold sweat. The Xing family's mission turned out to be a terrifying bait aimed at the disciples of the clan. At the end, the difficulty of this mission was at least rank 4 and even Yuan Ji and Quan Chen didn't expect it. Zhao Feng analyzed that they had hidden the information and the danger of this mission. Before them, there were already a few Ascended Realm cultivators who had mysteriously disappeared. The truth was that they had been used to create the Blood Essence Pill. The danger of this mission was much higher than they had imagined. It was at least a rank 3 mission. Yuan Ji and Quan Chen had hidden this information and used their lackey, Huang Yun, to purposely put Su Ren and Xiao Sun, who had conflicts with Zhao Feng, into the same group. It could be imagined that Huang Yun, Su Ren and Xiao Sun would definitely try to take revenge on Zhao Feng or hit him when he was down. Amongst them, Huang Yun directly listened to core disciple Yuan Ji and his aim was to find a chance to kill Zhao Feng. Unfortunately, Lin Fan was implicated and was also assigned to a mission. The people present weren't idiots and after understanding the situation, the truth started to surface. Fortunately, Zhao Feng was able to control the situation and avoid the infighting. In the end, he was able to lead the group and achieve great merits. Lin Fan, Xiao Sun, quickly returned to the Sky Moon Mountain and sent a message to the upper echelons of the clan. Brother Zhao and I will temporarily guard the cave and keep the captives. Vice Leader Su Ren said. He had discussed this with Zhao Feng before. After Huang Yun's death, Zhao Feng became the core of the group. While everyone was grateful towards him, they were also willing to serve him. Because Lin Fan and Xiao Sun's strength was relatively low, they were sent back to the Broken Moon clan. Zhao Feng and Su Ren were stronger, so they stayed behind to guard the Scarlet Moon demonic religion's stronghold. In this period of time, Zhao Feng and Su Ren had searched the Scarlet Moon demonic religion's cave and found some primal crystal stones and treasures. Zhao Feng's left eye could see through walls and it was extremely sensitive to the heaven-earth yuan qi, so he found many items. We found a total of 23 low-grade primal crystal stones. There are 98 treasures and over 100 small pieces of a mortal weapon. Zhao Feng and Su Ren sorted out the spoils of war. These spoils of war were indeed good. These primal crystal stones were all low-grade and each one was worth 100 substandard primal crystal stones. 23 primal crystal stones were worth 2,300 substandard primal crystal stones. Just these alone far exceeded the original reward of primordial crystal stones. The other treasures and mortal weapon pieces were also worth hundreds of primal crystal stones, which was at least 10,000 substandard primal crystal stones. Ha ha ha. Brother Zhao, we've struck it rich this time. Su Ren was overjoyed. These spoils of war were a huge fortune for the group of 4. One had to know that normal inner disciples only received 10 substandard primal crystal stones a month. According to the rules, the spoils of war would be split amongst the group based on their strength or contribution. Even if it was split equally, Zhao Feng estimated that he would receive at least 30 low-grade primal crystal stones. These were all high-grade primal crystal stones and they contained the essence of heaven and earth, which was extremely beneficial to cultivation. Zhao Feng wasn't worried about these spoils of war. What he felt troublesome about was the broken spiritual-grade blood-colored sword. The value of a spirit-grade divine weapon was immeasurable. In some sects, it was a treasure that guarded their sect. The broken blood-colored sword was useless in his hands and it was a hot potato. Zhao Feng was thinking about how to get the most out of this broken blood-colored sword. Several days later, the two returned to the clan and reported the news of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion to the upper echelons. This news shook the Broken Moon clan. The Scarlet Moon demonic religion was a force that had swept across the continent for hundreds of years and its name was known throughout the clan world. The Broken Moon clan was only a small clan and it was as small as an ant in front of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. How could they not be shocked to find a small stronghold of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion in the Broken Moon clan's territory? The same day they received the news, several elders of the Broken Moon clan led a group of elite disciples towards the Xing family. Zhao Feng and Su Ren guarded the Scarlet Moon demonic cave for 4 to 5 days and nothing happened. On this night, the Broken Moon clan's group arrived. From far away, Zhao Feng felt 3 powerful waves of heaven-earth yuan qi descend upon the Scarlet Moon demonic cave. "Greetings, Elder." Zhao Feng and Su Ren immediately bowed. The 3 were all at the true spirit realm. The one in the middle was an elder in pine robes who seemed to be a deity. His body was surrounded by a layer of azure light that was gentle and bright but soon disappeared. As soon as he said this, the eyes of the 3 elders flashed. That's right. There were many suspicious points about Zhao Feng. Under everyone's gazes, Zhao Feng was very calm and said, "The reason is simple." Chapter 154. The reason is simple. Under the questioning of core disciple Yuan Ji and the scrutiny of the 3 elders, Zhao Feng's tone was calm and relaxed. Everyone was slightly surprised. Of the 3 elders, First Elder and the gold-robed Elder Shui couldn't help but reveal a sliver of interest. After so many years, there weren't many low-level disciples that could remain calm in front of elders at the true spirit realm. The eyes of the 3 elders were like torches, bringing with them a heavy pressure. It was as if all eyes in front of them were like snow under the sun. "Zhao Feng, there are many suspicious points about you. If you hide anything, you won't be able to escape our eyes." Hai Yun Master, who was dressed in white, had a cold gaze and an expressionless face, but he gave off a powerful aura. Indeed. There were many suspicious points about Zhao Feng. He was only at the first sky of the Ascended Realm, but he had it the easiest in the mission and he was the one that defeated the Blood Corpse Protector. Only he had gone through the entire mission and he hadn't missed a single detail. At this moment in time, the cave was dead silent, as if the air had been frozen by the auras of the 3 true spirit realm. Everyone was waiting for Zhao Feng's answer. Quan Chen, who was behind Hai Yun Master, revealed a gloating expression. Zhao Feng came from a lowly background and under the questioning of the elders and core disciples, the slightest mistake could result in his death. Why was I the only one that lasted till the end? Why was I the only one that could resist the corpse poison? Why was I the one that controlled the situation the most? Why was I the only one that had the least injuries? There's only one answer. Zhao Feng's voice was like rolling steel balls, full of confidence and power. Everyone paused and couldn't keep up with his tempo. Lin Fan and the rest of them felt as though they were unable to breathe. Because in the group, I'm the strongest. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed with sharpness as he used the simplest and most direct method to reply. What was the reason? Because I'm the strongest. Why was I the one that lasted till the end? Because I'm the strongest. Why was I the only one that could resist the corpse poison? Because I'm the strongest. All the problems could be easily solved with only 5 words, because I am the strongest. Zhao Feng knew very well that even if he could answer and explain these doubts, the other party would definitely come up with countless tricky questions on this basis. Under the scrutiny of the three true spirit elders, the slightest carelessness would expose his doubts and even the secret of his left eye. Because I am the strongest. When Zhao Feng gave such a concise answer, everyone present was slightly shocked. Su Ren, Lin Fan, and Xiao Sun all had complicated expressions on their faces. Thinking about Zhao Feng's performance during the mission, they couldn't refute him at all. Instead, the more they thought about it, the more convinced they became. From the beginning to the end, Zhao Feng had been able to control the situation, not only because he was calm and clear-headed, but also because of his formidable strength. Strength was the foundation of the world of sections. Strength could represent everything. That was why Zhao Feng gave such an answer. Shameless boasting. Hai Yun Master snorted. Ha ha ha, Yuan Ji and Quan Chen looked at each other and started to laugh. First Elder and Elder Shui had weird expressions on their faces. They didn't think that Zhao Feng would answer in such a concise way. From the expressions of Lin Fan, Xiao Sun, and Xing Chen, it wasn't hard for First Elder to guess that this might be the truth. If Zhao Feng really was the strongest in the team, then all these suspicions would vanish like a puff of smoke. At this moment, the three elders looked at each other and exchanged glances. At their level, they could communicate with each other through their spiritual sense. Finally, it was Quan Chen who stood out from the group and volunteered. Zhao Feng, I heard that you stalled the Protector Blood Corpse for a while. Is this true? Quan Chen said with a mischievous expression. That's right. Zhao Feng knew that since Quan Chen was willing to volunteer, it meant that he had the approval of the three elders. Now, it was time to test his true strength. How strong was the Protector Blood Corpse? Quan Chen continued. Close to the fourth sky of the Ascended Realm, but considering that he was heavily injured and his limbs were stiff, he was at least at the peak third sky. Zhao Feng said calmly. No one had any objections to his analysis. Normally, a body that had been refined by corpses would increase in strength, offense, and speed, but it would be less agile. After all, there was no perfect life form and no perfect skill. But in reality, Zhao Feng's evaluation of the Protector Blood Corpse had been lowered a little. This was because the Protector Blood Corpse could release a mysterious poison that no one under the fourth sky of the Ascended Realm could block. And at the last moment, the Protector Blood Corpse's strength had exceeded the third sky. Peak third sky. Perfect. My cultivation is at the peak third sky of the Ascended Realm. Since you were able to stall the Protector Blood Corpse for a while, then as long as you can last 10 moves against me, we'll all acknowledge your strength. Quan Chen's eyes twinkled. From his words, one could tell that he was extremely confident. Back then, he had stepped on all the experts of the Guanjuan Palace and he had even defeated Zhao Feng's master, Lord Guanjuan, right in front of him. Now that he was facing a disciple that had lost to him, he didn't put him in his eyes at all. Can your words represent everyone? Can you represent the elders? Zhao Feng snickered coldly, as if he couldn't be bothered to attack. Yes. Hai Yun Master's voice was filled with coldness. First Elder and Elder Shui both nodded their heads. It was obvious that they all agreed on this result. Quan Chen's cultivation was at the peak third sky of the Ascended Realm and his strength was on par with the Protector Blood Corpse, so he could test Zhao Feng's strength. Good, then let's begin. Zhao Feng's figure flickered as he arrived next to the blood pond and said, This is where I fought with the blood zombies. Even the terrain was the same as before, which made it more suitable for the situation. Everyone nodded their heads and they opened up a space. At this moment, more and more people came to watch. This included old Zhang of the Clan Mission Division, who looked worriedly at Zhao Feng. Brother Zhao, let the first move begin. As soon as Quan Chen said this, he waved his hand and a few feet long streak of light flashed towards Zhao Feng. The cold moonlight mark was like an icy blade in the winter and before the attack even arrived, a bone-chilling coldness could be felt. Su Ren and the other two, who were further away, all felt the coldness. Junior brother Quan Chen is using the mortal high-class skill, Frost Moon Manual. This cold moonlight mark isn't something I can block. Su Ren's breathing quickened, as if he was in Zhao Feng's shoes. Cold Moon Manual. High-class mortal skill. Quan Chen had used his strongest attack right from the start, and those under the third sky of the Ascended Realm couldn't block it. Illusion Fish Transformation. Zhao Feng was like an illusion fish, and his eyes seemed to be able to see the changes of a fish. It felt like it was right in front of him, but in reality, it was far away. The moment he moved, the eyes of the three elders flashed. Shwa! The cold moonlight mark missed Zhao Feng by a foot and missed. On the other hand, Zhao Feng seemed to be standing on the same spot. What a profound movement skill! Everyone exclaimed, and some couldn't help but cheer. This brat's understanding of the illusion fish picture is similar to the refraction of light in water. There's a difference between the distance between the naked eye and the actual distance. Old Zhang's face was filled with shock. Only he knew where Zhao Feng's movement skill came from. Shwa! Shwa! Quan Chen waved his hand, and a few streaks of cold moonlight marks flew towards Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's figure was as agile as a fish, and he used his movement skill to the maximum, hiding the heavenly wind true force within his body. The first three moves were all easily dodged by Zhao Feng. How was this possible? Shock appeared on Quan Chen's face. He couldn't believe that an ant who was only at the 8th sky of the consolidated realm a few months ago had grown to the point where he could fight with him. Don't get cocky. I only used 60% of my strength just then. As soon as Quan Chen finished his words, his figure flashed and he seemed to turn into moonlight as he closed in on Zhao Feng with moonlight ripples on his palm. Chapter 155. It was already the 8th move of the 10 moves. The last 2 moves. Many of the spectators held their breaths as they watched with rapt attention. Su Ren and the other 2 were shocked. Although they had seen Zhao Feng's strength in the mission, they didn't expect him to be this strong. Hai Yun Master's face turned solemn for the first time. Blade of the Waning Moon. Quan Chen took a deep breath as his eyes glowed. He gathered his true force to the maximum and formed a crescent moon sickle in his hand. Shwa! In a split second, the air trembled violently. The moon chi scythe was cold and sharp, like a blade of death, slashing at all living beings in its path. This move was Quan Chen's trump card. Usually, he would only use this move when he was in the middle of a mission, facing someone of the same level as him. Good! Zhao Feng exclaimed as he pushed his lightning wind palm to the maximum. At this point in time, the wind blew and thunder boomed. Lightning wind annihilation. Zhao Feng thrust out a palm like lightning. Thunder and wind howled together, twisting and twisting together. Lightning flashed within the palm of wind, creating a destructive power. Boom! An explosive sound rang out between the two of them. This time, Zhao Feng's true force had almost reached the limit of 1 rank, and the power of his lightning wind palm was even stronger. Tang! Zhao Feng's figure retreated several steps while Quan Chen's blade of cold moon, which had been damaged in half, quickly reformed. It seemed that Quan Chen had the upper hand since his cultivation was 2 ranks higher than Quan Chen's and he was using a high-class mortal skill. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. The lightning wind palm's power wasn't any weaker than a high-class mortal skill, but his cultivation was limited and he could only use the heavenly wind technique. The Heavenly Wind Chi Manual was the simplified version of the Heavenly Wind God Manual that he mainly cultivated. Even though he had mastered it to perfection and had a high realm, its power was still slightly inferior. But even so, Zhao Feng's performance shocked everyone. The 3 elders looked at each other in dismay. It was truly unimaginable for someone to challenge someone 2 ranks higher than them. The lightning wind palm is truly worthy of being a semi-forbidden cultivation technique. This kid has even cultivated it to the 3rd level. Such comprehension is truly shocking. Unfortunately, Elder Shui said with slight regret. Thunder wind palm. He's the kid who went to the hollow building. The great elder showed a strange expression and unconsciously snorted coldly. Last time at the Hollow Building, Zhao Feng's attitude was so arrogant that he ignored his kind advice and stubbornly chose the Lightning Wind Palm. But thinking about it, no one who practiced the Lightning Wind Palm was normal, so the first elder didn't take it to heart. There was only one move left. Some of the surrounding disciples exclaimed. The two of them stood facing each other from afar. Quan Chen groaned in his heart. Only now did he realize that the promise of 10 moves was a bit too much, but he had no way out. Half Moon Blade. Quan Chen's expression became fierce as the waning moon blade on his arm suddenly expanded and the veins on his body bulged under the surge of true force. In an instant, the power of the waning moon blade doubled. Zhao Feng also felt a great sense of danger. The power of the half-moon blade had exceeded his limit unless he used his bloodline power. Not good. If this move isn't handled properly, someone might die. Elder Shue's expression changed as he circulated his qi of true spirit. Elder Shue, when Zhao Feng faced the blood corpse, it was a life and death battle. It's probably several times more dangerous than this. Hai Yun Master's clear voice sounded in Elder Shue's mind. Elder Shue paused slightly and looked at the youngest elder of the Broken Moon clan in the past 1,000 years. In that short moment of hesitation, the confrontation on the field was about to begin. Even Elder Shue didn't have time to make a move. First Elder's eyes squinted, but he didn't have any intentions of making a move. Under the pressure, Zhao Feng circulated his true force to the maximum and his speed became faster and faster. His body glowed with a powerful life force, squeezing out a great deal of potential. Boom! Zhao Feng's body trembled as his body erupted with limitless potential. It was as if he had undergone a qualitative transformation, as if he had been strengthened by bloodline energy. He had successfully broken through to the second sky of the Ascended Realm. The seventh sky of the Ascended Realm meant that every sky of the Ascended Realm would increase one's strength. After seventh sky of the Ascended Realm, one would reach the true spirit level. Wind Lightning Raging Dragon. Zhao Feng roared as he used a move from Lightning Wind Palm that was higher leveled than him. Now that he had broken through to the second sky of the Ascended Realm, his body released a large amount of potential. But even then, he was barely able to use it because that move required one to be at the fourth sky of the Ascended Realm. Roar! The instant Zhao Feng's palm shot out, the azure wind turned into a snake dragon and lightning crackled. It was as if a raging dragon was trying to destroy everything in its path. Boom! The walls of the mountain shook and the rocks on the ground fell. This was the stronghold of the Scarlet Moon religion. If it was a normal area, a hole the size of a house would have been created. At that moment, the half-moon blade and the wind lightning raging dragon clashed. Half a breath later, the half-moon blade broke into pieces and the wind lightning raging dragon broke into pieces. The two figures were pushed back dozens of yards due to the terrifying recoil. The recoil formed a chaotic whirlwind that was about to sweep across the entire area. It was enough to rip apart normal cultivators at the fourth sky of the Ascended Realm. Not good. Quan Chen panicked, but Zhao Feng's expression didn't change and he didn't make a move. Suppress. Elder Shue opened his mouth and an invisible force of true spirit appeared in the air, causing the whirlwind below to instantly collapse. The remaining power of the true power ripples on the stage also shattered into pieces, disappearing into thin air. The elder at the true spirit realm opened his mouth and a terrifying recoil was released. This made Zhao Feng feel the true power of the true spirit realm. The opponent had broken through to the true spirit realm. The two who fought, Zhao Feng and Quan Chen, were both slightly injured, but it wasn't fatal. Quan Chen's expression was dark and unwilling. He had even stepped on Lord Guanjuan, but he had lost to the opponent's disciple time and time again. The first few times, he had suppressed Quan Chen indirectly, so it was fine if he failed. But this time, he had directly used the half-moon blade, but it didn't do anything to the opponent. What made Quan Chen depressed was that under his pressure, the opponent had broken through to the second sky of the Ascended Realm. There were 7 sky of the Ascended Realm and every single one of them was like a chasm. Many people, like Lord Guanjuan, would be stuck at a bottleneck. But in life and death situations, the pressure would become the motivation to break through. 10 moves, thanks for letting me win. Zhao Feng knew when to stop. Within 10 moves, he could indeed fight against Quan Chen, but the latter's cultivation was high and his true force was deep. If he didn't use his other hidden cards, the situation wouldn't be good. After Quan Chen's test, the three elders exchanged their opinions. Finally, first elder spoke, Zhao Feng, you're indeed the strongest in the group. Furthermore, you've been smart and calm during the mission, reducing the number of casualties. You're worthy of praise. Following that, the three elders would promise rewards to the participants. The rewards were split into two parts. The first was the mission and the second was to report back to the clan after discovering the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. In terms of the mission, the danger level had been raised to 4. Therefore, the group's reward had increased from 100 substandard primal crystal stones and 100 contribution points to 2,000 substandard primal crystal stones and 2,000 contribution points. Because of Zhao Feng's outstanding performance, he was rewarded with an extra 1,000 contribution points. This meant that Zhao Feng would receive 500 substandard primal crystal stones, giving him a total of 1,500 contribution points. Contribution points were very useful in the clan. They could be exchanged for skills, weapons, spiritual pills, or bought at a discount. With enough points, one could even make some requests to the sect, such as asking an elder to guide one's cultivation. All in all, contribution points were almost omnipotent in the clan. With so many primal crystal stones and contribution points, our strength will increase greatly. Su Ren and the other two were extremely excited. Apart from this, the spoils of war in the Scarlet Moon demonic cave were even better and they could deal with them themselves. On Zhao Feng's side, Quan Chen and Yuan Ji's expressions were extremely dark. Zhao Feng had obtained so many primal crystal stones in one mission, and his contribution points had reached 1,500. Even some core disciples were envious of him. Zhao Feng, I can't believe that Su Ran has such a disciple. Although his talent isn't high, his potential isn't small. Hai Yun Master's eyes flashed coldly as he glanced at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's senses were extremely sensitive and he could faintly feel the coldness and hostility from the true spirit realm expert. But now, Hai Yun Master didn't have any killing intent towards him, but he was definitely on guard against him. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled and he soon made a decision. 3 elders, this lowly one has something else to report. Zhao Feng suddenly bowed towards the 3 elders. More accurately speaking, he looked straight at First Elder. Whether it was because of his identity or instinct, he was sure that First Elder was the strongest amongst the 3. Oh? First Elder signaled for him to continue. Zhao Feng didn't say anything and only took out a bag. Opening the bag, 2 items appeared, the beast skin map and the broken blood-colored sword. These are the items dropped by the Protector Blood Corpse when I was chasing him. I will now present them to elders. Zhao Feng solemnly handed over the 2 items. Just by looking at them, one could tell that they weren't normal items. Especially the broken blood-colored sword, which gave off a faint aura of spirituality which caused the expressions of the 3 elders to change. Spiritual grade weapon. The breathing and heartbeats of the 3 elders quickened. The first elder reached out his hand to touch the blood-colored broken sword. As soon as his consciousness came into contact with it, he felt a terrifying killing intent surging toward him. His eyebrows furrowed as he released a surge of true force from his palm, which suppressed the aura from the broken blood-colored sword. This is probably the famous Blood Moon devouring spirit sword from hundreds of years ago. It's close to the high-tier spiritual grade. Even now, it's comparable to the low-tier spiritual grade. First Elder murmured. Blood Moon devouring spirit sword. Elder Shui and Hai Yun Master's eyes were both moved and filled with yearning. Even they didn't possess a true spirit rank divine weapon. As for this beast skin map, it should be one of the 4 great inheritances, the Scarlet Moon inheritance. This map came from the invincible Scarlet Moon religion patriarch several hundred years ago. There are a total of 108 copies and they've been spread across the world. Many people have been studying them for several hundred years. First Elder's voice was low and deep. Scarlet Moon Inheritance. The expressions of the two elders changed once more. At their level, they obviously knew what the Scarlet Moon Inheritance represented. Chapter 156. Hundreds of years ago, a powerful superpower rose in the hands of a legendary figure. In just a few decades, it swept through the entire continent. At the height of its glory, it had almost swept across the continent and unified the world. The 10 most powerful sects on the continent had to join forces to resist it. That era belonged to the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, a legendary figure who could cover the sky with one hand, the Scarlet Moon Patriarch. Even though the Scarlet Moon religion's patriarch was the leader of the evil sect, the miracles he had created and the heaven and earth almighty cultivators of that era both respected and feared him. In later generations, there were still many people who worshipped and admired that generation's supreme devil sect. Some fanatical fans described him as unprecedented and unsurpassable. Perhaps this was a bit of an exaggeration, but the Scarlet Moon religion's patriarch's achievement that shocked the past and present was unparalleled in the past 10,000 years. This was widely acknowledged. Especially in the hearts of some evil cultivators, the Scarlet Moon sect master's position was no different from that of a god. Of course, the birth of any peerless expert wasn't something that could be achieved just by relying on natural endowments. What was most important was still opportunities. The Scarlet Moon Patriarch did not have the legendary heaven and earth spiritual body. In fact, according to some inaccurate records, his talent was only at the middle spiritual body level. His achievements came from a fortuitous encounter in his youth. That was the Chi-Yu inheritance. The Scarlet Moon inheritance allowed the Scarlet Moon Patriarch to change his fate and take the most meaningful step in his life. This was an important foundation for him to create the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. The Scarlet Moon inheritance was ranked third among the 4 great inheritances of the continent. Very few people in the world knew about its secrets, and the only person who had truly obtained it was the Scarlet Moon religion master. It was rumored that before the demonic religion was destroyed, the Scarlet Moon religion master recorded the secret of the Scarlet Moon inheritance on a map, calling it the Scarlet Moon map. Only by obtaining this map and deciphering the secrets on it would one be able to enter the Scarlet Moon inheritance, one of the 4 great inheritances. However, the Scarlet Moon religion's patriarch had purposely split the Scarlet Moon religion's map into 108 pieces and scattered them across the continent. On the continent, there were many people who had obtained fragments of the Scarlet Moon map, including some handwritten copies, replicas, etc. Up until now, no one had been able to piece together the 108 map fragments that were scattered across the continent. That was because only 70 to 80 pieces of the map had actually appeared in the world. There were still several dozen pieces that had yet to appear in the world. The Scarlet Moon map was filled with profound mysteries. Even one incomplete map piece would not be enough to open the Scarlet Moon inheritance, not to mention dozens of incomplete maps. Over the past hundreds of years, people's interest and passion for it had been far less than it had been in the beginning. Of course, if there was a genuine Scarlet Moon map fragment, it would still have a very high collection value. Judging from the aura of the Scarlet Moon incomplete map, it should be the real deal. Just this genuine Scarlet Moon incomplete map was worth far more than the spiritual rank divine weapon. Knowing the true value of the map fragment, Zhao Feng was also very surprised, but he did not regret it. Firstly, a single map fragment was not very meaningful. Secondly, although the value of the map fragment was high, Zhao Feng was just a low-level disciple of the sect. It would be difficult for him to make use of it, and it would only attract the calamity of death. The second reason was similar to the reason Zhao Feng gave up on the spirit-grade divine weapon. Zhao Feng, the 2 items you've offered are both rare treasures. The sect will definitely reward you handsomely. If you have any requests or wishes, you can state them all. The first elder was all smiles. As soon as he said that, all the disciples present revealed extremely envious expressions. This time, Zhao Feng's contribution was too great. In a small sect, spirit-grade divine weapons were usually the treasures of the sect and had a certain amount of deterrence. And the genuine Scarlet Moon incomplete map fragment was worth much more than an ordinary spirit-grade divine weapon. Puzzled, Elder Shui said, in principle, the spoils of war that a team obtains during a mission belong to the individual. Zhao Feng, why didn't you keep it for yourself and instead gave it to the sect? A spirit-grade divine weapon isn't something that I can control. As for this map fragment, I didn't know its origin before. I think that these two items might be more useful to the sect. Zhao Feng replied. Hearing this, Elder Shui and the First Elder nodded their heads in praise. The two exchanged glances. This Zhao Feng knows his limits and he can control his greed. If it was a normal disciple who obtained a spirit-grade divine weapon, they wouldn't be able to control their greed and would be killed. Furthermore, the credit for the spoils of war doesn't belong to me alone. Everyone in the team has a share of the credit. Zhao Feng continued. Hearing this, Lin Fan and the others revealed looks of gratitude. Everyone knew that the main credit belonged to Zhao Feng, and this was also the reason why he gave out the two items. On the other side, Quan Chen's face had turned green and his eyes were bloodshot. He was about to explode from anger. Zhao Feng had done so much and this was a great fortune that even core disciples would be jealous of him. Haiyun Master's gaze occasionally glanced at Zhao Feng, and the coldness in his eyes disappeared. Zhao Feng was impeccable in terms of strength, potential, intelligence, and even his way of dealing with people. Now, everyone knew that Zhao Feng had done such a great deed. If the upper echelons of the sect didn't reward him, it would be a laughing stock. Otherwise, who would be willing to give it to the sect in the future when other disciples found it? Zhao Feng, we have decided to reward you with 200 low-grade primal crystal stones and 50,000 contribution points. Each member of your group will be rewarded with 50 low-grade primal crystal stones and 8,000 contribution points. Furthermore, due to your contribution, the sect will grant you a wish. The First Elder announced with a smile. After the announcement, the crowd went into an uproar. 200 low-grade primal crystal stones is equivalent to 20,000 substandard primal crystal stones. I won't be able to get so many primal crystal stones in my entire life. Some disciples were filled with jealousy. 20,000 substandard primal crystal stones. This number even caused the true inheritors' eyes to turn red. Even some of the attendants and vice hall masters were envious. The monthly salary of core disciples was only 100 substandard primal crystal stones, which was equivalent to 1 low-grade primal crystal stone. Their real income came from their elders or from missions. Furthermore, 50,000 contribution points was also a huge amount of wealth. One had to know that entering the hollow building once only cost 5,000 contribution points. 3,000 points could buy a low-grade mortal weapon at half price. With these primal crystal stones and contribution points, Zhao Feng and the rest could increase their strength. The three of them revealed expressions of excitement. They were just basking in Zhao Feng's glory and were overjoyed to have such a reward. When the First Elder saw the expressions on the faces of the others, a smile appeared on his face. In reality, compared to the spiritual weapon and the Scarlet Moon map fragment, these rewards were nothing. Actually, it wasn't that the First Elder didn't consider giving them more rewards, but that would only have the opposite effect. A huge amount of wealth would only bring trouble to Zhao Feng and the rest. Therefore, the contribution points for the four far exceeded the primal crystal stones. 200 low-grade primal crystal stones and 50,000 contribution points are enough for a normal disciple to live in the sect for tens of years. Zhao Feng was satisfied. Of course, Zhao Feng's biggest reward was the wish. Within a reasonable range, Zhao Feng could make a request, and as long as it wasn't too much, the sect would agree. What should he make this wish? Zhao Feng soon had two ideas. The first was to get his hands on the 9 transformation golden wall technique. According to what he heard, this was a peak-grade mortal body tempering technique, and even core disciples didn't have the right to come into contact with it. Second, become the disciple of an elder or even the sect leader. He believed that with Zhao Feng's contributions, One of these two requests would be within the acceptable range of the sect. Zhao Feng, have you thought about it? Of course, you don't have to rush. You can think about it when you get back and bring it up to the sect. The first elder said with a smile. I've thought about it. A hint of determination appeared in Zhao Feng's eyes. He quickly made up his mind. Oh? Tell me about it. The three elders all looked towards Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng, don't go overboard with your request. Hai Yun Master purposely gave Zhao Feng some pressure. At this point in time, Hai Yun Master could feel Zhao Feng's potential. If it was someone else, it wouldn't be a problem, but this person was Lord Guanjuan's disciple and this wasn't something he wanted to see. Disciple doesn't have anyone to teach me, so I hope that first elder can be my master. Zhao Feng's voice was firm. Master? The three elders all paused. Hai Yun Master was the first to react as he said coldly, Zhao Feng, first elder's status is high, why would he casually take in a disciple? Even a high-grade spiritual body doesn't have the right to be first elder's disciple. As soon as he said this, a faint pressure of true spirit realm was transmitted to Zhao Feng's body. What he meant was that even a high-grade spiritual body didn't have the right to be first elder's disciple, not to mention a low-grade spiritual body. Zhao Feng's body went cold and his blood seemed to freeze. It was as if the person standing in front of him was a giant. Those who had reached the true spirit realm weren't normal humans. Compared to normal humans, it was like comparing a giant to an ant. At this point in time, First Elder and Elder Shui surprisingly didn't say anything. Zhao Feng was puzzled, what's wrong? Logically speaking, with the contributions he had made, it shouldn't be too much for him to ask the First Elder to be his master. The reason why he became First Elder's disciple was because of the plan he had discussed with Lord Guanjuan. After entering the clan and becoming an inner disciple, he would need to find an elder to rely on in order to reduce the threat from Hai Yun Master. At this moment, everyone fell into a short silence. First Elder didn't say anything. Talent isn't everything, otherwise the clan wouldn't give extra rewards to the top outer disciple. If First Elder is willing to take me in as a disciple, I won't regret it in the future. Zhao Feng was as calm as ever, and his words exuded immense confidence. He had an ancient bloodline, which was stronger than any supreme-grade spiritual body. If even the Blood Corpse branch protector was shocked by his bloodline, then it was easy to imagine. Zhao Feng. First Elder won't take you in as a disciple. If you don't mind, you can become my disciple. The gold-robed elder laughed lightly and broke the heavy atmosphere. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be surprised and he didn't know what was going on. Maybe First Elder had something he couldn't say. But as long as he could become the disciple of any elder, his goal would be achieved and he didn't have to become First Elder's disciple. Zhao Feng, your potential isn't bad. I'm willing to take you in as a disciple. Hai Yun Master smiled brightly as he suddenly said. Ah! This scene not only shocked Zhao Feng, Quan Chen and Yuan Ji who were behind him also had their mouths wide open. Chapter 157. At this point in time, there were two elders who wanted to take Zhao Feng as a disciple. But Zhao Feng chose First Elder. First Elder stood on the spot and didn't say anything. Zhao Feng didn't know what was going on and Hai Yun Master's sudden appearance caught him off guard. If it was just Elder Shui taking him as a disciple then it wouldn't be a big deal, but now there was Hai Yun Master. Hai Yun Master's eyes were deep and he had a bright smile on his face. Zhao Feng's heart skipped a beat and he understood after thinking about it. Hai Yun Master did this to give him a chance to surrender, just like Bei Moi, to become his disciple. Just like that, he once again crushed Lord Guanjuan to the ground without any effort. If Master Su Ran knew about this, he would probably spit out blood. At the same time, this was also a forceful method to force Zhao Feng to make a choice. If Zhao Feng chose Elder Shui, then there would be no turning back and they would be enemies in the future. Hai Yun Master would try his best to suppress him and get rid of him. Brother Hai Yun, you're interested in Zhao Feng? If you're willing, I can give him to you. Elder Shui was taken aback for a moment before bursting into laughter. Zhao Feng cursed in his heart. The situation was becoming more and more disadvantageous for him. At this point in time, he had already analyzed the situation. Firstly, First Elder didn't want to take him as a disciple for some reason. Secondly, Elder Shui wasn't sincere. Thirdly, Hai-Yun Master had ulterior motives. The key was the second point. The reason why Elder Shui brought up the idea of accepting a disciple was just to ease up the atmosphere and give the First Elder a way out so that he wouldn't break his promise. Hai-Yun Master had just said that he wanted to take Zhao Feng as a disciple, and Elder Shui had agreed without hesitation. Therefore, Elder Shui wasn't sincere and he couldn't be relied on. From the fact that he had taken Sun Yuanhao as a disciple, it could be seen that he valued talent. If I become Elder Shui's disciple, Hai-Yun Master might not necessarily protect me. Instead, he might even collude with Hai-Yun Master to sell me out. Zhao Feng quickly concluded. Elder Shui was insincere and unreliable. He was only trying to curry favor with the great elder. If Hai-Yun Master became his disciple, it would be like sending a sheep into a tiger's mouth, and it would go against Zhao Feng's principles and bottom line. Zhao Feng's mind spun and he came to a conclusion: rather than acknowledging these two as his master, he might as well change his request. On the other hand, the First Elder wouldn't easily accept a disciple, and wouldn't casually make promises. People like that would definitely do their best. Once they gained the First Elder's approval, they would receive the best protection. Unfortunately, Zhao Feng secretly sighed and quickly made a decision. Therefore, Zhao Feng wasn't only training this skill, he was also trying to perfect it and improve it. In the dimension of his left eye, he repeatedly simulated it: "You must not be willing. It's too similar. Chen had the same expression as you back then. He also said something similar to you. If I don't take him as my disciple, I will regret it in the future." The First Elder had a complicated expression as he stared at Zhao Feng, as if this was another person from his memories. First Elder. What he said, I will do. What he can't do, I will complete. Zhao Feng's expression was calm and full of confidence. Arrogant. Shameless. As soon as he said this, the people around him started to criticize him. Even the two elders had their eyebrows furrowed. Some were even worried that Zhao Feng would be engulfed by First Elder's anger. But Zhao Feng wasn't worried at all. Because at this moment, he had become the substitute for the disciple that First Elder loved. There are also differences between you and him. First Elder looked at Zhao Feng and smiled. Zhao Feng's heart jumped. Could it be that First Elder could tell that he was using his emotions? You are as confident as him and even arrogant. But there is one difference: you are very calm. First Elder stared at Zhao Feng for a long time. Calm. This was a strong mentality that Zhao Feng had after merging with his left eye. No matter how much capital he had, no matter how high his achievements were, he would never truly be arrogant and conceited, nor would he lose himself. The high profile and arrogance he had displayed earlier were all methods to establish himself in the sect and resolve the predicament he was in. Now, it was all for the sake of achieving his goal. Zhao Feng and First Elder's eyes met, but they didn't move away. First Elder's face showed signs of struggle. After a long while, he let out a long breath. Since you don't want to give up on Lightning Wind Palm, I can only take you as an in-name disciple. Of course, you can become the disciple of another elder or even change your request. All in all, I have tried my best. Tried his best. Zhao Feng could understand First Elder's stance. His most beloved disciple had met with misfortune due to practicing Lightning Wind Palm, and he swore that he would never take a disciple again. But he had given Zhao Feng a wish. Becoming his disciple wasn't an unreasonable request. Therefore, First Elder made a compromise. If Zhao Feng gave up on Lightning Wind Palm, then he would accept him as a disciple. Otherwise, how could he bear to see another disciple die in the same situation? But there was another problem. Zhao Feng was very similar to the disciples he had accepted in the past, and he wouldn't change his decision. After some struggle, First Elder could only promise to take Zhao Feng as an in-name disciple. There was a huge difference between in-name disciples and direct disciples. The former was only in name, and the master didn't have to pass down the true inheritance. Even if the in-name disciple committed a heinous crime, the master wouldn't be implicated. Disciple greets master. Zhao Feng didn't hesitate and immediately became his disciple. Just as he was about to bow, First Elder stopped him. He's only an in-name disciple, not an official disciple. There's no need to be so formal. First Elder didn't want to put too much emotion on Zhao Feng because the latter practiced lightning wind palm and would be a ticking time bomb in the future. Zhao Feng smiled faintly and didn't mind. He only became First Elder's disciple to find someone to rely on, that's all. From his point of view, being First Elder's in-name disciple was better than being Elder Shui's direct disciple. Firstly, First Elder's status was high and he rarely took in disciples. Even if it was an in-name disciple, no one dared to casually touch him. Secondly, First Elder was a person who valued relationships. Even if it was an in-name disciple, he wouldn't ignore Zhao Feng. At least it wouldn't be hard for him to be protected. After successfully becoming First Elder's disciple, Zhao Feng could feel the envious gazes of the surrounding disciples. Even if it was just becoming First Elder's in-name disciple, it was enough to make many people envious. Being an in-name disciple of Zhao Feng was extremely valuable. First Elder didn't easily take in disciples. Apart from Yang Gan, there was only Zhao Feng. He wasn't like the other elders who had several direct disciples and many in-name disciples. Furthermore, First Elder's status in the clan far surpassed normal elders, and even the clan master had to respect him. This brat actually succeeded. Haiyun master paused for a moment and his eyebrows furrowed as if he felt that this matter was troublesome. First Elder's status in the clan was too special and he was above the other elders. Even if Zhao Feng was only First Elder's in-name disciple, his treatment wasn't any worse than the direct disciples of the other elders. At this moment, Zhao Feng's heart calmed down. According to his master's plan, he had achieved his second goal in the clan. First goal, to become an inner disciple. Second goal, to find someone to rely on. The backer he had found was not just an ordinary kind of powerful person. From the wariness and hatred in Quan Chen and Yuan Ji's eyes, Zhao Feng could see a thing or two. For the next few days, the Broken Moon clan searched 1,000 miles around the Xing family to find the location of the Blood Corpse Protector, but there was no progress. The Blood Corpse Protector was heavily injured and shouldn't have been able to escape more than a few hundred miles. However, the Broken Moon clan sent out experts and even elders, but they still couldn't find the shadow of the demonic religion. What the Broken Moon clan didn't know was that if Zhao Feng used his left eye, he would have at least a 50 to 60% chance of finding the Blood Corpse Protector. But unfortunately, Zhao Feng's goals had all been achieved. High profile was enough. Next, he needed to be low profile and focus on increasing his strength. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.